it.
WTF Nation Radio. WTF Nation Radio.
Hi, Lieutenant. How are you doing? Aw, did you find your land nav point, Lieutenant? Good job, Lieutenant. You get a
Expert Action Badge.
put on your uniform right,
Expert Action Badge.
show up to work on time,
Expert Action Badge.
qualify on your weapon,
Expert Action Badge. Badge of Action.
find your guide on.
Expert Action Badge.
That's right, just doing your normal warrior task and drills, you get a
Expert Action Badge.
Each item sold separately. Batteries not included. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. If conditions persist, contact a physician. Individual results may vary. Keep out of the reach of children. Avoid prolonged exposure to direct sunlight. Keep in a cool, dark place. And
Please enjoy the show. Shots.
Shit in a bag, Pogue. Badge of Action. The voice of U.S. Army. WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio. Action Badge. WTF Nation Radio. WTF Nation Radio.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Do you ever have one of those moments where you think, how the hell did I get here? Jeez, what happened to me? I was ruling the galaxy, had a cherry new battle station. I mean, this place had an omelet bar, a straight-up omelet bar. And now look, my former intern's tossing me down a bottomless freaking pit. You know, come to think of it, my whole life has been a series of what the moments. That was my out.
The voice of U.S. Army. WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
I looked my woman in the eye sockets. I told her straight out. I just said it, man. I said it. I said, bitch, I'm the man of the house.
You said bitch, though. You called your wife a bitch.
Oh, yeah.
This is a public service announcement from C.T. Fletcher. I will not contribute to the pussification of a nation. Get your punk ass out there and work for it, motherfucker.
Let's roll.
Well, welcome to WTF Nation Radio's Monday edition with myself, Ice, and we got the Flash and Mo hanging out here today on this 4 December 2017, broadcasting live from the Functional Veterans Center of Excellence.
Go Army, beat Navy.
That's right, because you know everything's about excellence when you have excellence, and you have an excellency course of becoming excellence. That seems like the Army's new thing now.
Hey, y'all.
Is to go excellence. So, I mean, if you really want to be excellence, then have a center of excellence to be excellent. That seems to be is West Point the center of excellence for excellence too? Did you see the video that they did?
No, not which one is it?
Oh man, well they stole the goat.
They stole a goat.
They stole
I tell you what, West Point's
goat.
been getting ballsy the last couple of years. They're like, hey, you know, we're starting to get a half decent football team. Fuck Navy.
Yeah, they stole the goat. The Navy stole. You didn't know the Navy has goats. I don't know what they use them for, but
Isn't the goat their mascot for the game?
yeah, that's their mascot.
Oh, okay.
And we have a jackass.
Which is weird because goats really don't swim well at all.
No, they don't.
So, hey, why not make them the Navy's mascot? That makes sense.
Because it puts lotion on the dungarees. Navy. Go Navy. Go Navy. So anyways, they put in a badass video. Long as fuck though, but it was a good video. It was pretty cool. Well in depth. Whoever shot that video, kudos. Good shit. Love it. Not bad for West Point.
Did you see? I know you're kind of been like had a falling out with some sports, but have you seen the uniforms? They're going to be
just the NFL. Just the NFL.
Then I'm assuming you've seen West Point's uniforms.
Oh yeah.
Celebrating. I'll tell you what. That I thought the last time where they had who was it? I think it was like the 82nd Airborne. They were the 10th Mountain looks pretty badass and like the all white and stuff. I mean, it's pretty cool. I just have to say.
Well, yeah. I mean,
It's got me pumped to say, go on and beat Navy. Let's go.
I'm waiting for
whether they win or not.
Yeah, I don't even know if it's just one of those simple rivalries that you have between your services. That's all.
Which we're usually on the losing end of. But
yeah, I know.
Hey,
man.
we won one, so now it's time to make a new tradition and win more.
Well, not to mention the fact
that's good.
Not mention the fact that the Navy's pretty famous right now, but they're famous for other stuff.
Like dicks in the sky?
Yeah. Dick clouds.
I hope somebody draws one over the Army-Navy game. That would make my day.
That would be epic.
I want the Blue Angels to do the fucking like a badge or something. Have just a giant, because since it's all in rage. It's in season right now to have a female genitalia be put everywhere. Might as well just have that. Just have the Blue Angels draw some cooter up there. Cooter clouds. There we go. That way we have some. No, I'm serious, man. Just have the Blue Angels. Oh, you guys.
Hey, the ball's in your court, Navy. The ball's in your court.
That is. Put my balls on.
You can blame it on us. You can say it's our fault.
Yeah, give you a shout out. What's up, Tyler? There you go. I gave you a shout out. Give us a shout out. Put my balls on a guitar. Strings are plated. Is that what you wanted to hear? Some shout outs right there? All right, yeah, there you go. What's up? I'll give you a shout out. There you go, Tyler.
You got the shout out now. You share this video. You share our live. That's the deal.
Yeah. I mean, most people share this stuff anyway, so. But
because we're awesome.
Yeah. Well, the whole thing I saw that, like I said, it looked like there was. First off, the video production of it was fucking professional and badass, and I would say it was actually, I think they had to have had a CSM write their lines for them because they were funny. It was funny. It was actually kind of funny. Like I said, it got kind of long. There was some airborne operations going on and shit in there, but it was pretty cool. I liked it. Pretty impressive. Good job, Golden Knights. Wait, did I say Golden Knights? I'm sorry, Black Knights.
Yeah, a little different.
Yeah, they call them Black Knights. There you go. The Black Knights.
Tyler's from the Virginia National Guard. Hell yeah.
They took my guard. Well, congratulations there, Tyler. Thank you for joining us in. And you got your shout out there from the Nasty Guards, the Nasty Girls. But anyways, what is it? Today's a Monday, man. It is a Monday. Standard bullshit going on in the world and in the Army and in the.
It feels like a Monday. Today has just been like crazy.
It has. It's just I just haven't. I don't think I've ever been able to catch up on anything. However, D. Treasy never disappoints in the news.
Nope.
Never disappoints in the news. Well, what did he do this time? Well, somebody said that he returned. He returned to. Now, here's the thing. The way the news broke it is they said the president today returned national monuments to the public. And when I think of a monument, I'm thinking like the Washington memorial, the obelisk, and the Lincoln Memorial. You know what I mean? I'm thinking about that to me that's a monument. But the actually was the land of the monuments that he gave back. He gave back 90% of land, of federally held land. You know all that land that BLM was holding out and shooting motherfuckers for? That land. He gave it back.
A lot of it, too.
A lot of it, yeah.
They said, hey,
3 million acres or something.
We got you, bro. Here's 2 million acres.
That's what it was, yeah.
Have been downsized mostly in, I think majority of it's in Utah because he was hanging out with the Mormons afterwards. But in Utah, 2 million acres have been shrunk down so the government can have less control of those public lands. I don't even know how I feel about it, to be honest.
Well, I wonder how many of those lands are Indian Nation lands.
Well, let's just say that there's a lot of Indian tribes and there's a lot of environmentalists that will be suing this, and they have actually that report's already been in the New York Times and Washington Post that they are already planning on filing as many injunctions as possible to stop this because there's a lot of tribes that are pissed off, and you can't just shrink 2 million acres without screwing some tribe out there. So yeah, I'm gonna say it affects quite a bit.
Wait, let me get this straight. So the tribes that were pissed off about the government interfering with their shit is now pissed off that the government's no longer gonna interfere with their shit. So like,
makes sense.
I think the big thing is that they feel that it's going to open them. The big thing that keeps coming across is that it's going to it has a potential to open up for investors, industry leaders to start developing that land. Maybe not so much as condos, but for oil and natural resources that they feel it's going to hurt the environment. Shoot, I just had the quote and I skipped away. I clicked away from it. But the gist of it was going to hurt the environment and pretty much be sold off to the highest bidder. Pretty much Secretary Zinke from the Department of Interior, if you look at his Twitter page, he is getting destroyed. I mean, dear God, destroyed. The man who's supposed to be who a lot of people say, claim to want to channel Theodore Roosevelt and be, our 21st century Teddy Roosevelt is being accused of being pretty much an oil baron in disguise.
Is it though? I mean, is that? Look, if you don't have the money to purchase land for mineral rights, anyways, then don't shut up. It's like me getting mad that somebody has a Mercedes, but they can afford it. I can't. I mean, obviously, I can't afford a Mercedes. No matter how much big ball and senior NCO, sergeant major, first sergeant money I'm making, you know what I mean? But I'm not going to sit there and get the ass or be butthurt that somebody has the money to do it. I never understood that.
Okay, you brought up the whole, they're afraid for the quote-unquote environment aspect of this whole deal. So recently, I'm pretty sure you guys saw on the news how the pipeline, and it was the whole, with the I guess the argument and the protesting and all this stuff about the pipelines, about them being bad for the environment. And didn't a pipeline recently had a pretty big leak? And then after this, said investigation was done, it was actually a protester that had caused the leak.
Yeah, exactly.
So their whole thing with the environment is flawed. That argument, they can't use it anymore. They need to quit using it.
Oh, wow. Hey, we got a like from China. Well, thank you. Shishi. Ni hao, jishi, ni di xiaotang. That's about as much as Chinese I can remember. Because I speak a bunch of languages. So thank you. Shishi. That's crazy.
I had actually looked to see what the hell you were talking about.
Oh, then we get a like out of China.
I thought you had just skipped your medication and.
No, I had taken I'm pretty linguistical and I know a lot of languages. I used to be able to speak a lot of languages, and so when I was my little one, my Princess Ice was taking Chinese classes, and so I'd help her out and with some of her classes, and then she'd school me up on what Chinese language was. So I hope I got it right. What I said was in Chinese, I said, "Hey there, thanks for listening." It was pretty much in a loose term, in the best Anglo round eye that I could say it. So there you go.
Oh, so to answer your question, the biggest pretty much, here's the quote. The general gist of the arguments regarding both national monuments is that the Antiquities Act, which I've never heard of before until today, and I had to research it, is a limited grant of authority from Congress to the president to establish national monuments. Nowhere in the act does Congress give the president the power to revoke or diminish national monuments, and by doing so, the president is acting beyond his authority and unlawfully, and that is from Legal Director Steve Block. The Navajo Nation also promised to fight Trump's decision. The Navajo Nation is one of the biggest Native American tribes, especially out that way. So it's kind of, it's a big hand being thrown. The Navajos, who consider the Bears Ear Monument, which is one of the monuments that's being shrunk down from, let's see, I just had the number, shrunk down from 1.35 million acres down to about 201,000 acres.
Oh wow!
So it's a big change.
Yeah. But now are these?
Hold on, let me finish, and then you can ask your question because I'll probably answer it. The Navajos consider the Bears Ear Monument of critical importance to the culture of many tribes in the region. Said the White House ignored their request to meet and discuss the issue.
Yeah, that was going to be my question. What is the importance? You know what I mean?
Let's see.
Not to mention the fact that I I can see where the Navajo Nation is getting some heartburn with this due to the fact that it's something that's bought up. What's the first thing that happens when you're, like, for instance, living in an area that isn't normally populated by a lot of people, and then you have encroachment, and then you have people building up shit, and then you have shopping malls and stuff, and neighborhoods and suburban, growth happening, and then what's the big word that happens when someone wants to take your fucking land to expand? The eminent domain, right? So,
pretty much. I mean, and it sounds like the biggest thing was that nobody was consulted about this, and everyone's saying, let's say, Trump is also in danger of inflaming public opinion, even while he appeases Utah congressional delegates. Besides, environmentalists, hunting and fishing groups have come out against the move, including some groups that have expressed early optimism about Trump and Zinke. Quote, Staircase Escalate, in particular, which is one of the monuments, is troubling with a carved out for coal industry, said the Land Tawney, president of the Back County Hunters and Anglers. Those are fishermen for you dumb folks. That carved out is smack dab in the middle of some of the most important habitats for desert bighorn sheep, and will impact that species immensely, all for some coal that will be likely be sent to China, unquote. So I think that's the big thing, is that I think people feel that what's going to happen is we're going to now start, now that the government isn't saying, hey, this is a national park, the government can now pretty much sell off this land to be utilized. And there's a lot of people who are pretty upset with this, and, have been accustomed to the status quo of, I can hunt bighorn sheep and I can catch salmon and trout and stuff like that in some of these rivers. It does have a big environmental impact, especially if we start digging for, coal and oil. So I understand some of the people, but I don't know. Do you think that the Trump administration not talking to pretty much just making a decision without talking to anyone first or besides his secretary was, maybe a wrong move?
I don't know what is, because this is so sudden. It's not enough detailed for me to go through. You know what I mean? There's nothing for me to research because holy crap, he just gave out a bunch of public land or federal land to the public. Now, what does that mean? How's it going to be carved up? Who's going to be giving? You know what I mean? If you already, the way I see it, if you're living close to the land that was originally federal land, what's wrong with buying it?
Yeah, they're the same guy, Land Tawney, also said that he hoped Trump and Zinke would oppose GOP efforts to liquidate federal lands, which I guess is what people feel it's going to happen. Oil and gas company, and this is a quote, oil and gas companies, which have supported Trump and his push for American energy dominance, welcome the shearing back of monuments borders. So it's right now and I guess maybe in the whole grandstand of, the big company is the bad guy, and now that we're like, hey, go ahead, people feel that this is just going to be a fire sale. Like, hey, we've moved all these stuff back. Now pay us money. You can work on this land and bring oil in the, maybe people feel that the term energy dominance is just going to be everyone's already mad at the rich. That's just the way it is. I mean, Bernie Sanders, lit that fire really bad during the campaign.
The rich
but
suck.
No one, if you make money, you're gonna be hated on. So regardless of what they do, no one's gonna be happy. I mean, if they didn't do anything, the Utah delegates who are probably getting shitted on by their own constituents are not gonna be happy. I mean, it's a lose-lose situation, but it's a situation. I don't know. I kind of like having these national parks, but I don't know if they need to be that big.
I was about to say, or what, and that's another thing too, because what is the biggest thing that they were complaining about? They're complaining about not having a budget to maintain these national parks. Well, we can't have this park open. Why? Because what is it? Yosemite is having some issues keeping it open sometimes because they can't afford the budget to have park rangers there. Well,
that's a great point. That's exactly the problem.
If you minimize the amount of land for those guys to have to worry about, then guess what? You'll
have money.
You'll have money. You'll now have to worry. You don't have to worry about that, and not to mention the fact that everyone is not seeing the whole picture. That's a circle of life type shit. So you want everybody to stay where they're at now. Now that we're here, now we're gonna keep bloating ourselves, almost like we're getting ready to see the beginning of Judge Dredd, mega cities and shit. how everyone's all crammed together, even though there's land out there that's actually good instead of it being bad. What's wrong with getting some land? The way I see it is that I don't want to pay $15 a fucking gallon for gas just because some fucking hippie who is nowhere near connected of that land is getting butthurt who lives in New York or something like that is getting butthurt that this land is. I'm looking at it from the other aspect. Now, from the other side of it, is it fucked up that he didn't tell nobody? Yeah. Hey, the last time I checked, I thought I was the secretary for Bureau. I was a Bureau of Land Management, right? You gonna tell me that this land is going away, dude? I mean, this kind of helps me out. Kind of want to shuffle some resources around, or what if I had some issues, or what if I had some resources that needed to go somewhere, and you just totally just said, fuck it, I'm just gonna go ahead and send these resources here, and I'm gonna give. As a matter of fact, you don't have to worry about resources, ICE. I'm cutting everybody out the loop. What are you talking about, dude?
Well, Donald Trump was actually quoted in saying that the National Park Service, which is is a section inside the Bureau of the Department of the Interior, Donald Trump said that the National Park Service people wanted this to happen for almost that very reason, that while they're cutting back 2 million acres, they still have another 20 million acres, 30 million. I mean, the number's huge of the national parks throughout the national park boundaries throughout the country. That's saying that national park couldn't. And then some reports came out today. Here it is. Anytime, no matter what Trump says, there's always 3 reports saying that this is a lie and the opposite. It's kind of weird. And there's another report from the Bureau of Land Management from Fox News, shocking, pretty much saying that they were aware, but they advised against maybe taking the borders back so much. I mean, it's not like it's hey, we're going to shrink this by 10%. They shrunk it by that one that I mentioned was 1.3 million down to 200,000 acres. That's a big shrinking. I mean, that's not even a little bit. That's a lot.
That's
So,
most
I
of
don't
the
know.
state.
There's a lot of things going on. He didn't consult with the Native American tribes. The environmentalists are pissed off. Will this actually happen? I think it will. I think it will end up being upheld, regardless if it has to go all the way to Supreme Court. But I do think it's going to take a while because one thing, hey, we have a great court system, and sometimes things take a while. So Shazam.
So just curious, the Secretary of Interior just, woke up and his Twitter is just blowing up and he's like, what the fuck?
Could you imagine getting that phone call?
No.
Could you imagine getting that?
He's a big, because I do follow, I try to follow as many people in the government as much as possible, stay informed. And he posted that he was with the president. He posted about the ceremony today in Salt Lake City. That's where they were at when they announced all this stuff going on. And if you click on his actual tweets and just see the replies, half of them are you have to hit show more because these have explicit content. And I click on it and it's fuck you, Zinke. And it's just, and then some people are there's been death threats on there. I've seen 1 or 2 death threats to him and his family just on his Twitter alone. If you go on the Department of Interior's Twitter, it's the same thing. Gutting the land, calling them oil barons. There's cartoons on there pretty much making Zinke as the butler to the big oil and gas business. And I don't even have the stomach to go on on Donald Trump or the White Houses when they announce this because, people tell you what, liberals live on Twitter. They love it and they utilize the shit out of it. But some of it's pretty funny, but you couldn't pay me to work for any of those guys right now.
No way, because then they have to. You're just basically having to, I guess you'd say, clean up shop or do consequence management on some comments that you have to catch. Like I said, this thing caught me by surprise. What the hell is this about? Because I mean, I understand what the big deal was. Sí, nosotros podemos hablar en español, pero radio es en English. Sorry. Thank you, Che, for Carlitos. How about you throw up a like? I don't know why you busting Spanish out in here. No need to. So, one of them was what? The Bears Ears National Monument, and what was the other one? The other ones, you said the Grand Staircase Escalante. That was the other one.
Yes, I think I butchered that when I said it.
No, it's okay, man. It's being called illegal by I don't understand. And now that you're going back to these acts, I don't remember it. I don't remember that. I thought, like I said, I honestly thought that was the whole idea of them doing that. Was them to I don't know, kind of, I don't want to sound callous, but you're bitching about the fucking government taking the fucking land and all. Don't you? I mean, you know what I mean? They're all. I mean, because the U.S. government to the Native Americans have not really been holistically fucking trustworthy when it came to the treaties and breaking their promises, right? So it's almost kind of like, well, fuck, here you go. Here's your land back. And now that seems like they're complaining about it.
It's really not really giving the land back. What they did was, because, when the president said, President Obama set aside 5 million acres of federal land into the National Monument Parks, and which was the most under any president under the Antiquities Act, and that started in 1906. At the same time, Teddy Roosevelt came in. It rolled it back so it's no longer protected, meaning the federal government can sell it now. So it's not like the government's going, hey, back to the public, here you go. It's more of we've removed a barrier so then they now can, the federal government can still do it what they want. So it doesn't really actually, it's not giving back to the people. It's just giving the federal, just removing a blockage that says the federal government can now do with it what they like.
Yeah,
I mean,
between
the
it's obvious.
There's a combined 3.2 million acres.
But what I'm thinking though is that everyone's all going about, there's ancient dwellings and cave dwellings and petroglyphs and all this other crap. And I'm thinking, dude, they're not talking about that. They're not. No one's gonna go in there and fuck with the artifacts that are in there. And I think that's what people are fearing. And I think some of the land, again, I don't want to get involved in some of these questions when it comes to land not being occupied and then being occupied by nobody. And then when somebody comes in and occupies it, then people who never occupied it are butthurt about it. Then, it just gets into the questions. No quiero hablar español, man. Trust me. We're good. Thanks, Che. Your name there. Yeah, I'm raising my eyebrow. Anyways, so, again, they're talking about modifying it. And I don't... Everyone's saying it's a shameful action. It's like, I'll be honest with you, it's almost like the guy can't fucking win. I want to know what the big deal is. You know what I mean? I want to know what the big deal is because here's the way it worked. There was other. It was other than high. Everything was fucking. Everything was prohibited. Everything was prohibited. Everything you could do in fucking those national monuments were prohibited, right? And then you couldn't hunt or fish. You can build fucking bathrooms or fire pits. It was originally off limits for mining, oil, and gas drilling and logging. Motorized vehicles, including trucks, ATVs, and motorbikes, were also cut out. Now, everyone immediately went to the oil and gas companies, and that was the first thing they went to. Like you were saying about the Antiquities Act, requires presidents to limit their national monument designations to the smallest area compatible with the care of the land. The smallest area compatible. So, I really don't think that I'm not seeing I don't know, man. I'm not feeling the controversy here. I'm not feeling the fuss. I don't see the big deal about all this. Unless I'm missing something. Or it's because everyone fucking hates Trump, and every time he does something that it's bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, Trump breathed, oh shit. We were in, during a group I was with this weekend, we were talking about Trump and Trump controversies. And one was when CNN spent like a good 10 minutes on Trump had 2 scoops of ice cream when everyone else had 1 scoop.
Oh yeah, I heard about that. Yeah.
Well, America has an obesity problem, so they're 1 scoop they're probably okay with.
Well, I'm just saying, if I'm the fucking president, best believe 2 scoops of mint chocolate chip ice cream. If not, bring me the carton.
No, I'm craving that. But again, it's. I'm not seeing the controversy. I don't see what the big fuss is about. Me personally, I don't see the fuss. Now, again, I'm gonna be a realist too. Are the majority of the people who are making a big deal, they're complaining about it while they're driving around in their freaking their vehicles that they don't want to pay, like I said, $10 a gallon for gas, or and they're talking on their cell phones that are made in China, the very country they talk about human rights violations, even though they're they're saying that on their iPhone, doing their selfies on these areas. You know what I mean? It's kind of like counterintuitive to what their whole thing. You know, if I was gonna be a hippie about this crap, I would live that life. I'd be in the bush. I would be off the freaking net, off the grid. So then I could say, yeah, this cave, I don't like these caves. Well, I mean, I'd probably get my ass beat for fucking living in the goddamn wilderness, crapping everywhere or something like that. But I don't see what the big deal is. So it's just one of those things to where, is it just, you just bitching just a bitch? Are you bitching it because it's the president, or are you bitching because there's actually something legitimate about it? Because when you start talking about, well, oil and mineral rights, I guarantee it. I bought some few acres there because they want to slice it up, and they go, ICE, here you go, here's your deed. And they just happen to find fucking an oil deposit. What do you think those guys do? Can we drill and we'll give you some cash? Yeah.
Right?
Take it. Yeah, exactly that, Casey. They drive around on mopeds and Priuses. They still have mopeds? I didn't even know. I thought they had Vespas.
I don't know.
They got those scooters now.
Yeah, they got scooters. Shut up, we got scooters. Tonight's drink brought to you by Jack and Coke.
Well, you know,
they live near
just so much stuff to get to today.
No, there is. I mean, but wait, there's more. So also, he went. What did he go visit? What was he doing in Utah, anyways, to visit? Did he go? I heard
he went to Salt Lake City, Utah, to announce that they were rolling back the national monuments. And then he went and saw trying to remember right, so bear with me. He met with a Mormon organization / group and commended them on, their work for the poor. And this was off NPR radio this afternoon on my drive back. And he apparently this group does a lot for the poor and the unwealthy and stuff like that. So apparently he was out there, glad handing, at least, getting some time out in Utah. But that's the gist of it. His big reason was, I'm going to go out there and tell him I'm going to go out to Utah and piss a shit ton of people off.
Yeah, that would have nothing to do with what we're trying to do here, if that makes any sense. He went to go visit the commander in chief of the LDS, the Church of Latter-day Saints, Welfare Square in Salt Lake City. I didn't even know that the Mormons had I don't want to piss off some Mormons. I didn't know they had a commander in chief. Mormons got they got militancy or something like that. I'm surprised old D Trees didn't drop any militancy religious overtones.
Don't fuck with them Mormons. They stacked and everything. They ready to go. They gonna war.
Well, I was just asking because he went to go visit them. I guess he was joined by Jean Bingham, president of the Women Relief Society, and the presiding bishop, Gerald Cosset, who oversees the church's vast business and real estate holdings, along with his. Wait a minute! Whoa! What was that? Wait a minute! Presiding bishop of the Mormon Church, vast business and real estate holdings. Oh my God! I think we just cracked it.
Dun dun dun!
It was funny you say that because South Park had an episode where they were making fun of John Smith and how did John Smith was able to talk about
I love that article so much. It pissed off all my Mormon friends.
Exactly. He went off to the forest and read to a hat. Dum. Loved it. They even have one of the most.
It's actually I think if you would rank that would be a top 10 episode. That was pretty good.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, he did go visit members of the Church of Latter-day Saints or the Mormons. I don't know, is it PC to call Mormons, or is it just a Church of Latter-day Saints? Because I don't know, it's just
I've never heard a Mormon complain about me. Go, hey, you're a Mormon? Yeah. Oh, okay, cool.
Okay, good.
Like I've never heard anyone complain. So hey, if you're a Mormon and you're listening to this and you don't like being called a Mormon, then hey, let us know. That's like a food for thought thing. So
it's not
in the comments.
Well, it's not to drive.
If you're not a Mormon, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, exactly. Mind your Mormon business. Or but it's almost like a midget getting mad when you're calling them a midget, even though they're a midget. You know what I mean? It's just one of those. Hey, dude, and that's the only word we have in our vocabulary.
Yeah, that's the same thing.
No, I'm just saying that's the only word we have in our vocabulary for a midget is a midget, because the other one is a dwarf, and you don't want to be called. You want to? I fucking don't fuck with Tyrone Lannister. That dude he'll fuck you up. And
I drink and I know things.
Exactly. You call him a dwarf, he'll kick your ass.
That's like a First Sergeant anthem right there.
Yeah.
I drink and I know things.
I'm a midget, goddammit. Oh, whoa, okay. Well, that's the same thing with the Mormon. Do you call them LDS's people or do you call them Mormons? I'm just wondering, what is the PC thing to call a Mormon? It is Mormon? All right, there you go. But if not, then I don't want to offend nobody, but I don't care if I do. But I'm just asking. I have general nativity to life sometimes, to include some people in our own country in areas that I've never been to Utah. No, wait, I have been in Utah. I've been in Boise.
I drove through it one time.
Wait, Boise's
I'm glad
not
I got
Utah.
out.
Wait,
it's kind of like West Virginia. Just, I'm good.
Is Boise? Where's Boise at? Oh no, Idaho.
Idaho.
My
Boise's in Idaho.
Yeah, my bad. Yeah, I was never in Utah. I was in Boise. I had a good time there. It was a blast. But yeah, I've never been to Utah, so I don't want to sit there and talk about my fellow countrymen in that specific negative tone if I've never been. It's like me talking about the South and not living in the South, or me talking about the North and not ever living up north. So,
well, speaking of the North, because we have a lot of stuff to get to. So hey, if you're living in South Korea, you might not be living there too much longer if you're a dependent. Republican U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham on Sunday urged the Pentagon to start moving U.S. military dependents such as spouses and children out of South Korea, saying the conflict with North Korea is getting close. Quote, "It's crazy to send spouses and children to South Korea given the provocation of North Korea." Lindsey Graham, who you remember was a candidate, Trump was running in the primaries to become the GOP nominee for the president, and he's also a member of the Senate Armed Forces Service Committee. He said that to CBS on Face the Nation on Sunday. This is coming from Reuters. So I want them, the Pentagon, to stop sending dependents, and I think it's now time to start moving American dependents out of South Korea. The United States has 28,000 troops in South Korea as a legacy of the 1950 to 1953 Korean War. So there's a good chance that I know they talked about this when I was in Korea in 2016, but this is a possibility that people might be evicted.
That's like sending dependents, I should say family members, to the Green Zone in Iraq.
Like if my spouse ever came down for orders for South Korea, and he was like, "Hey, you guys can go too," I'd be like, "Fuck no." I don't know. To me, it's just common sense, as a dependent, knowing, what the hell's going on. Like, I don't want to live in a country next to a country where the leader of that country needs fucking Prozac.
Hey, Holly, how you doing? Long time no hear. Welcome back. Woo woo. Anyways.
Well, Graham said we're getting close to a military conflict because North Korea is marching towards marrying up the technology of an ICBM with a nuclear weapon on top of that, that can not only get to America, but deliver the weapon anywhere. We're running out of time. I agree. I mean, I spent 7.5, I think, because I got out a little early because I was getting out of the Army, 7.5 months there in Camp Casey, Camp Hovey. And I'll tell you what, I would not want even down in Camp Humphreys where it's, nicer and everything, I would not want my kids and my wife to go there. I totally agree with you. If it was I came down on orders, hey, you're going to go there for a year, or you can go there for 2, I think it's 2, and bring your family, I'm going to be like, cool, I guess I'll see you guys in a year.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, what I would do.
What are you talking about?
But you're right, Ice. It's pretty much the equivalent of putting them in the green zone. It's like, why would I want to intentionally put my family and if God forbid Fat Kid has a conniption fit, and all of a sudden we're in
Hits a red button.
Yeah, and all of
Yeah.
a sudden, like, everything's getting obliterated. I'm good.
'Cause you know what happens?
My family's already in, like, it seems like in the United States, they're already in danger. If you listen to, MSNBC, they're in danger of dying from a gun or for whatever thing every second of every day. I don't think I want to put them within striking distance of artillery.
Yeah, well, not that that's about to say. And when you're involved in something like that, do you know what happens when? Okay, here's what happens when a war happens, and your family is with you. You're not going to be with them. You're going to be in the front, and your family is on their own, waiting on some rear detachment guy who was probably not able to fucking pass a PT test to get your family out of that country. And you have to depend on the military. I mean, come on, man. They lose your household goods. So imagine that in an evacuation during. So, and then I feel sorry for. I shouldn't say it's some guy who can't pass a PT test. It could be anybody that's designed, that's fucking tasked to do that. But I couldn't even imagine being the poor guy that has to deal with some of these family members trying to get them out. Hey, man, we need to go get you and the kids. Blah blah blah. Blah. Your husband said he's by the DMZ and blah blah blah. We are now conducting a non-combatant evacuation operation. Well, I gotta get my kid. My dog's here. You gonna get my dog.
Yeah, that's just this whole situation nobody wants to be in.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody wants to spend, because it's going to take a lot of money. It's going to take a lot of time. It's not easy to evacuate all the dependents out of an area. I mean, that's just something the U.S. just does not need to hold the tax bill on. I mean, most people go there for a year because they don't care about the 2-year option to bring their family. I mean, Korea's nice, but Korea's not a place that I really want to take my kids at this point.
No way, dude.
We had a hard time evacuating Katrina.
Boom, right there. That's all you really need to say right there.
Look at Florida.
Move people out for Harvey. We couldn't move people out for Katrina. But yeah, we're going to move all these people out of South Korea as soon as the shit hits.
Well,
right?
It didn't matter. It didn't matter. It didn't matter.
Like now, yeah. What do you mean I can't take my stuff?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I mean, I demand to bring. I want to speak to your commander. I demand to bring Flea.
My husband is a
sergeant. My husband is a sergeant, and you better let my service dog, who's not trained to be a service dog or therapy dog.
My husband's on WTF Nation Radio. You will let me stay, damn it.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, shit. Well, that's ice, so we better, let her stay.
No. They're like, put her on a fucking plane. I'll be like, she's going to be next.
Bye, Felicia.
Take care of the kid. Auf Wiedersehen, Felicia. But I just can't. I don't see the reason why. Because when I was coming in, when I first came into the Army, we had another war happening, just finishing up, called Vietnam, and that was like the big deal. And then it was Grenada.
Yeah, it was a footnote.
Yeah, it was. And then it was Grenada, and then it was Panama. Now, do you remember? If nobody remembers how Panama started with the PDF, the PLF or the PDF, the Panamanian Liberation Force and the Panamanian Defense Forces, accosting a female spouse and beating the fuck out of her. And we invaded that fucking country. So imagine placing your family into that. But to go from when I first joined the Army, that was unheard of. You might as well have dropped. I mean, I talked to my dad about it, and he's like, what the fuck are they doing, bringing families down there and shit? I'd just gone down there, done a tour, and come back. That'd be like sending. And then he said that'd be like sending families to Korea. What kind of fucking idiot decides that shit? You know what I mean? I'm like, yeah, exactly that. You'd be like, well, why would you send a family member? Now, look, guys, Nation, hey, I totally understand the family connectivity in the Army is trying to build.
I understand you're going to be lonely.
Yeah, I got you, man.
There, done that. We all have.
Yeah, exactly. But holy crap, not at the risk of bringing your whole family over to Korea, and then everyone's like
potentially imminent death.
Yeah. This dude's talking about nuking Seoul. We already had this discussion when I did the blow by blow of what would happen in if Korea were to strike against the South Korea. Everyone was like thinking it was fun. Everyone got all quiet. There was no joking around once I started naming the casualties off and shit. Started talking about who was going to get killed and all that. You think those idiots? I mean, come on. They're poised. They're ready to go. They're waiting for that proper trigger to come across the DMZ to do that. You honestly think they're going to see a plane flying in the air and they're going to go, oh no, don't shoot that. That's family. American family. They're not going to know. They're going to fucking shoot down everything. They're going to be busting caps on everything. They're going to slaughter everybody. So, and when someone says, well, it's not right. This is how you don't take care of families. Shut the fuck up. Lindsey Graham, why is it now that you decided to say this now anyways?
I guess I'm surprised they didn't start coming up like maybe even like 2 years ago when they really started getting really hard and heavy on these on these nuclear tests. But at this point, I guess maybe they're like, hey, they're like, waiting to like the last second, before it's like stupid to not do this. I think we're at that point where it's stupid to not do this. So, I mean, I'm just saying this is just Flash's opinion. But if you're in South Korea and you're dependent, start packing your stuff because I have a feeling that this is going to resonate. And it's also going to send send a signal that we're getting serious because now we're moving the families out because we're ready to rock and roll.
Because one thing the president does not want to look is bad or weak.
Nope, doesn't want to look weak or bad. And moving the families out would send a clear message that, hey, we're
shit's getting serious.
No, well, not to mention
on,
exactly, and not to mention the fact that he's. I mean, think about it, that last nuclear, and they were smart. North Korea was actually smart. They wanted to push their ICBM, so they're like, okay, fine, we'll do a launch, and we're not launching it over anyone. We're just gonna shoot that fucker straight up, and see how far it goes.
Hey, we were able to touch Saturn and then bring it back. Does that count as good?
Yeah, exactly. We can now with that test, it's been estimated now that they can hit the East Coast. They can fly completely over our country and then hit us. I mean, they were showing the videos and also the stuff. Japan even said, "Oh shit, this is fucked up." Then of course you have everybody downplay it. No, North Korea is not really gonna, blah 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 blah. Dude, we're getting porked.
It's kind of like
we're getting prison rape every day.
He
fucking does some
in
shit.
A school shooting. Well, we didn't think he was going to do it.
Yeah, exactly. WTF Nation Radio, you're on the air. What's up? WTF Nation Radio, you're on the air. What's up? Okay. Wow. That's the first time.
That's a great point, caller. I appreciate you calling.
Yeah, thank you, caller, for giving us that delightful insight. We should call him back. But again, they basically spanked us in front of the world audience, the world stage, and said, "Oh, okay, we're not gonna launch here. We launched straight up," and that's what they did. They launched the rocket straight up. That was the equivalent of launching it across and hitting it somewhere in the East Coast. Somewhere in the East Coast. So I don't know what's considered somewhere in the East Coast, but
like they were talking, it could pretty much it could hit DC if they really wanted to.
All it takes is one.
Like
all it takes is one.
Like they honestly could. Like if I looked at the map right, which was the cool little like trajectory and like wave map thing, like Florida, like if you're in Miami, you're good to go. But if you're in Georgia to New York, you're hittable at this point.
Yeah.
But they're also saying that if they added a heavier payload like a warhead, that would probably change that trajectory back to just the West Coast. And I don't mean to diminishify the West Coast, like just the West Coast, but
no, it's okay.
Still that's a lot of land not be able to be covered.
Well, the land's been given back, so sorry. No, Casey, I will not run for president.
Boom.
Are you kidding me? With all the stuff going on with Weinstein and all this other crap, and all these guys accusing everybody of sexual whatever. Oh my God! And all the ex-wives that I have, I wouldn't even pass the first screening. It says right here, candidate ICE is not reporting the release of how many divorces he's truly had. Or how many of them...
Fine. I've had 72 divorces. Leave me alone.
Exactly. Nah, I can't do that. No way. Nope. So I would like You know, that'd be fun to run for president, just to run. But then, you know, that's what happened with Trump. It was fun for him to run, and everyone was talking about him and poking jabs at him, and then he won. So he kind of like, again, he doesn't want to look bad, doesn't want to look like ass in front of the world stage. He doesn't want to look like he's going to be weak. And so what's going to fucking happen? He's going to fucking, I'm having a feeling everyone's saying, Lindsey Graham, he just gave us a warning of what's possibly going to happen.
Yeah, that's the way I interpreted it as. Like, that's exactly how I saw it was. Lindsey Graham's like, hey, why do we have families there? Like,
Yeah,
he's going to those meetings going, yeah, hey, why are we still, you know, maybe it's time to move them, you know, move they, come on now.
Yeah, exactly. Ixfay, move family. What did he just say, Lindsey Graham? Yeah, but I don't think. And what makes me mad is just like how we have. I don't know. We had dependents there. It's like those fuckers that are on the Senate Arms Committee. The Senate Arms Committee. Okay, these are the guys that are in the House. You know, the committees, because you know when you're in Congress, you're not just representing your fucking state. You're also on committees that are required by the House and Senate. So there are guys that are in there that are on the House Senate Arms Committee. How did you not know motherfuckers were deployed to Africa? Or how did you not know dependents were in Korea? Just look at TRICARE Prime. Just look at that website right there, and you'll see it. Oh, you want Korea? Dial +1. You know, how do they not know? They get briefed on this shit. So any of our congressional leaders that want to talk about what is or what is not being briefed to them, it's horse shit. Now, it gets briefed to them. Motherfuckers better just show up to the meetings. If they don't show up to the meetings, then fine. Exactly that, Al. The Owl even knows too. They knew. They knew. They get briefed on that crap all the time. Because you know what? Every country has a max limited amount of people that can be there when it comes to our armed forces. And do you know who gets funneled through? The State Department. I don't even talk about the State Department, man. Holy crap. And the State Department places a cap on how many U.S. forces through the Status of Force Agreement, through the diplomatic channels of that country have represented how many forces would be there, not in a militaristic role. That's got to get sent up to where? The DOD. So we did not know there's families there. We didn't know. Oh, we didn't know there were so many families over there. No, dumbasses. There were a bunch of families over there. So yeah, just one of those things. Freaking, I don't
start packing your shit.
Yeah, I was about to say you might if you were living.
That's the WTF. Just like advice of the day: pack your shit because either you're gonna move or either you can go back or you can go back the army way. Good luck to you.
Yeah, I don't feel that they should have they shouldn't play stupid with this. I think that family should don't feel fucking tell the military to get these guys out of here. And you're right, Al. The Al even says, yeah, that's right. They track the government, they track the military so much. You know how many times? I mean, I've been hanging around that area. How many guys are going up there having to testify or validate or having to justify their budgets for the next whatever aircraft or the next ship that needs to be done. They're up there testifying before Congress, talking to these same people that they said we didn't know they were in Africa. So, oh yes, who was that? Oh hey, what's up, Warhorse Veterans? How y'all doing? Thank you for joining us tonight. But yeah, I don't just come out and say it. Korea is about ready to be on fire, so it's time to redeploy the families. Hey, family members that are there, don't be so freaking entitled. You're not going to. You shouldn't feel entitled. It's for your safety. Because that's one thing a family member has never been exposed to is war. We've never really exposed our family members to war. And could you imagine the fucking, oh my God, all the drama that would happen if something were to happen to a family member overseas, especially in a situation like that, when they could have deployed or redeployed the families back? I couldn't even imagine that scenario.
I think I think if you ever wanted the whole country to rally around, I mean, look at every time something's happened to the United States. You know, look at Pearl Harbor. It wasn't just soldiers and sailors that got, you know, they were getting killed. It was the civilians on those islands too, and those government civilians and stuff like that. The country rallied around that. I mean, 9/11. We rallied around all our civilians and U.S. military personnel that died. We rallied around that. It's just we haven't had that in a while because we're the United States of fucking America, and we don't have people sucker punch us like that very often. But when they do, we decimate the shit out of them and drop mobs and fucking end their fucking existence. So if North Korea did, you ever want to see the whole country right now is like split between we need to do something about North Korea or we can't fight North Korea. We shouldn't go to war with North Korea. We shouldn't go North Korea. All of a sudden, a family member gets killed. Guarantee everyone will turn around, and then those people that say we shouldn't go to war will then be labeled as non-patriotic and this, that, and the other. Just like when we went to Iraq and Afghanistan, it's the same thing. Honestly, and don't take this the wrong way, but if Trump wanted a justifiable excuse, he was hoping for a family member to be injured or killed by something those fuckers are doing. Because that would turn the whole country into a let's go fuck them up day.
Oh, yeah. I guarantee it. You had what? You had 1 million people, 3 million people sign up for the military after Pearl Harbor? You know what I mean? So I'm just like, yeah.
People were committing suicide because they weren't able to go to war.
They weren't able to go to war. They got 4F'd. They got rejected. They didn't get wavered.
I was watching a documentary. It was PBS. It was Ken Burns. If you ever, they have the Civil War and they also have the World War II on Netflix. Not a shout out for Netflix, but they are on there and it's pretty cool. They had one guy who was doing an interview who pretty much said that they had like 30 people that 30 people that went to go out of this small town, went to join. 5 got 4F'd. And all 5 of them committed suicide within like a month. Like wow. That's how like it was. We need to. That's how it was wrapped around. We as a country need to go do this, and it's kind of all 5 get 4Fs and all 5 commit suicide. It's kind of a big deal. We don't have that anymore. We don't have a sense of patriotic due to our country on the whole. So if Donald Trump wanted the whole country to rally around the idea of we need to go squash that bug up there, that a family member getting hurt or us getting sneak attacked will be the quickest ways for that to happen. Not condoning, just pointing it out.
Yeah, I don't even want to go that route. I mean, think about it. You see your little ones and you see your family members and you could, well, except for some exes, you couldn't even imagine putting them in that environment, and then having you not know that if they're living in Seoul, that about 1,000 artillery rockets are flying into Seoul right now, or not right now, but in the event he decides to pull the trigger, or just to say fuck it, he's going to nuke it. Nobody even knows nobody knows on the outside.
That would make me ineffective as fuck as a soldier.
And I was about to say, dude, I would not care. I could care less. I could care. Everyone, hey, First Sergeant, you better go ahead and you better fight. Yeah, you better First Sergeant. I'm going to that big crater over there that's glowing. Go find my family. And that's it. That's all I'm going to do. At that point, I'm not. No, that's why you need to get the families out of there. That's just me. So, anywho, we're gonna go ahead and take a break right quick. We're gonna have a guest coming on in a sec. And then, until that, then, again, make sure you stay tuned. It's going to be a good guest. So, shots. Or whiskey shots. Or whatever shots.
You say I walk on the truth. Well, it definitely is all about the visuals, although pretty sure it's illegal.
The voice of U.S. Army, WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Everything stated on WTF Nation Radio is to be considered the opinion of the person that stated it, and not an official representation of WTF Nation Radio or U.S. Army WTF Moments.
Price does not include tax, title, or license. Some assembly required. Each item sold separately. Batteries not included. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. If conditions persist, contact a physician. Individual results may vary. Keep out of the reach of children. Avoid prolonged exposure to direct sunlight. Keep in a cool, dark place. And
please enjoy the show. Shots.
And we're back on the Monday edition with myself, Flash, and Mom. And joining us is Connecting Vets, CBS Radio's ConnectingVets.com. But this time, instead of having our last guest, Jonathan Kauphanger, we're going to have Matt Satsing. What's up, Matt?
Yep.
So how you been? Tell us what you do for Connecting Vets. I know I was surprised that Jonathan didn't want to jump on here and talk again. He had a good presence last time. So tell us about yourself.
Yeah, well, he does this stuff pretty regularly, so I'm much more of a novice. But I'm a reporter for CBS Radio's Connecting Vets, and I was hired on initially to do a lot of Capitol Hill stuff, and I still do a little of that from time to time. But I also write basically other kind of feature stories.
So what's all on the hotness? What's the hotness right now going on Capitol
Hill?
The
hotness. I guess the biggest thing on Capitol Hill that I've been privy to would be the medical marijuana support for veterans on Capitol Hill, something very near and dear to a lot of veterans' hearts. And the interesting thing here is that so the American Legion, the largest veteran service organization, has got like 2.1 million members. They did a nationwide survey of all veterans and found that of the more than 1,000 respondents, over 800 of veterans favor medical marijuana legalization for veterans purposes. And that's getting some kind of traction where actual Congress members are starting to step up to the plate and try to take a little more of a leadership role into helping this get along in the legislative process.
Now, is there anything that's been coming out of the Veterans Administration medical field, or someone in the medical community of medicine when it comes to, I don't know, treatment of PTSD or chronic pain? Has anybody come from the government to say this is something we can go ahead and just venture into?
So unfortunately not. Actually, the Secretary of Veteran Affairs, Dr. David Shulkin, a medical doctor, he's kind of got he has two hands to play. On the one hand, he's a medical doctor, and I think if you were to get him alone at a bar, ask him, hey, what do you really think about? Is there medical benefits to marijuana? He would probably say so. But marry that with he's also the chief executive of one of the largest government agencies, and it's still a Schedule I narcotic.
Correct.
So really, the real big thing that is hampering progress on this issue is the fact that it is a Schedule I narcotic. Now, a Schedule I means that there's no medical benefits and that it is highly addictive. So just for frame of reference, methamphetamine is a Schedule II, right? So is cocaine, but marijuana remains on this Schedule I thing. So the issue is getting it off that list to even start having the conversation about legitimate research for PTSD to kind of replace some of these other, zombie-inducing combat cocktails that we've seen being prescribed when soldiers and Marines and whatnot come back home.
Now, are you seeing that and the WTF Nation always has they're skeptical. We all are.
Sure.
Sure. Is it something from? Is there any lobbyists from Big Farm pushing this stuff? Is it someone saying, no, let's keep giving our vets opioids, or what we like to affectionately call them Skittles, and they'll be all right. And maybe it's in their head. Is there anybody that's I mean, you're a reporter, but you're also, what can you say about this? Is there anybody that's digging into that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know of any personal pharmaceutical lobby that is kind of going there and saying, hey, keep pushing opioids into at least they're not doing it overtly. I really do think that there's just a lack of when you talk about medical marijuana research and legalization, there's a lack of a fundamental critical mass to kind of bring these issues to the forefront so that our elected officials can I swear on here?
Oh yeah, you can say what the fuck you want, man.
All right. So
Fuck yeah, you can. Fuck yeah, you can.
Yeah. So the lack of a critical mass is really the lack of a give a shit of our elected officials. Senators and congressmen and women aren't going to put their reputations on the line unless it has to do with constituent services. So picking up and calling your senator or congressman or congresswoman really does do a good when it comes to this. And because that needle hasn't really been moved, so to speak, there's just not a whole lot of political capital on the Hill to actually get this done, if that makes sense.
No, I understand. But there was just recently revealed, well, not revealed, but it was just recently released that there's going to be some sort of new holistic. They're looking at holistic, I guess, help on what type of medicinal. Because what makes, I guess the way I would see it is that, and this is just me. I'm just an old fart. So you would think that if there's just like any other study, I also worked in big farm in my younger days. And so you would think that as the FDA, because I know the FDA has a piece in this too, the FDA has to ensure that the clinical trials, the human trials are completed. Of course, you have the side effects and you have the placebo test and all that. I don't understand why anybody has not said, since already now 10 years of this being introduced, that they decided to say, well, let's just go ahead and begin clinical trials on medicinal marijuana and see what happens with BAM. I don't understand how come. Are you seeing this? Are you seeing anybody, like you said, not giving a shit to where, no, we don't want to do it. Reefer madness. Shut up. You're a hippie if you do it. That's what it seems like to me.
Yeah, well, there is definitely a segment of the population, and definitely in our elected officials, to have that mindset. You got Jeff Sessions, the Attorney General, the head lawyer of the country. He's been on the record multiple times. Says good people don't smoke marijuana. Meanwhile, we all can go home and drink a fifth of Jack or a 12-pack of Miller High Life every night and be hunky dory, right? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I think there's definitely a generational educational issue when it comes to that. As far on the research side, there's this Dr. Sue Sisley. She's out in Arizona, in the Phoenix area, and she actually wants to study medical marijuana and its effects on PTSD at the clinical level, to actually say empirically, the double-blind study, yes, it does have an effect, or no, it doesn't, or hey, it depends. It's somewhere in the middle. But she's actually being blocked from that because it's hard to get people that are veterans that have PTSD into the study. Now, there's a whole big VA center out in Phoenix that would be a great source of participants and people that she could kind of weed out to see if they meet the parameters or not. But the VA has basically stonewalled her and not been able to give her, the files and to access to the patients and veterans that she needs to conduct this. And part of that has to do, again, with being the Schedule 1 level.
Well, she was just recently, well, not just recently, but a couple years ago, she was named Researcher of the Year by the National Medicinal Marijuana Group. And and one of the things that she was bringing up, and I'm glad you brought it up because I was going to ask you about her, but you just brought it up. Now, did they not understand that she was talking about a controlled environment? I mean, did they just completely said, no, shut up, you're done? I mean, she lost some contracts too, and lost some of her grant applications were turned down because of, except for the University of Colorado that said, approved, $2 million to further research, in 2014. So I'm just thinking, who is stopping her? Who is the block? Who is it?
In this case, the block is actually the VA. And it has to do with they're following the laws that are on the books as they are written. Now, marijuana was legalized and scheduled, decades ago. Definitely, when you mentioned reefer madness, that's definitely a part of it. I think it's now a time, the people that wrote the laws aren't even alive anymore, let alone not in Congress. So again, getting that critical mass, getting in political science we call it the collective action, getting enough people to give a shit to move that needle. So then our politicians will be incentivized to take the issue head on. But a few people on the Hill are taking the issue head on. People like Matt Gaetz, who's a freshman Republican congressman from Florida, and he's less than 35. He's a pretty young guy. And he's been at the forefront trying to get this. He actually has a HR 2020 in the House, and it actually moves marijuana from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3, where the VA could kind of open the floodgates and say, okay, now we're actually able to conduct legit research on this, but again, that was introduced back in April, and it just hasn't moved out of committee since then.
Well, not to mention the fact that what really struck me is that John Hopkins has stepped up to partner with her for the study. And normally when you hear John Hopkins, I mean, you're hearing, you think, artificial intelligence, you think the king of psychology, you think of these are the top doctors and top brains of the medical field. When they are expressing an interest in it, and it's blocked. I mean, I guess what we want to say is let's find out who the hell these guys are and dime them out, because and I love that analogy you keep saying, and I'm going to add to it. Let's move the needle forward before Joe's putting their needle in their arm. How about that?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? That's the way I see it. I'm tired of seeing the guys having to suffer, and I'm pretty, I'm I've been in the Army forever and a day, and I kind of have some tough love when it comes to some of that shit. Hey, look, I'm going to help you out. Let's do this. Let's do that. But it's hard for me to sit there and move that help to somebody that really needs it, when, especially like you said, the Arizona, like one of the prime areas of, I didn't know this, is of PTSD psychiatric treatments, that you would think that would be the nucleus for this test. No,
for sure.
No, nobody did it.
Please go ahead.
No, I'm saying no, and nobody did it. Nobody said, yeah, that's a great idea. Let's go ahead and John. I mean, like I said, normally, John Hopkins University backing up your test would be like NASA backing us up. You know what I mean? We'd be like, yeah, we're legit. Let's do it. You know what I mean? I really don't get why they wouldn't. Because I'm passionate about this because, I lost my father to Lou Gehrig's disease.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
And what makes me mad is that the old man was drinking freaking morphine.
Yeah.
And finally, in the state that he's in, I don't want to reveal my PERS because I'm still in. Finally, that was revealed in the state that he's in that he could take medicinal marijuana. He died before he could take it. So the guy was in pain the whole freaking time because of stupid reefer madness shit like this. And now, mind you, he had been raised. He went to Vietnam, so he thought hippies are the only ones that smoke pot. He thought, and he raised me the same way. So as soon as he started saying, I'm going to do this. I'm tired of being in pain. And he, he was a study of that, and he looked at it and researched it, and by then it was too late. But this was back in the early 2000s where it was even unheard of. The people were saying that's like giving somebody a cigarette when they shouldn't be smoking. You know what I mean?
Right. No, I mean, I definitely agree. And I went to a press conference last month, and they had a mother of a Marine that committed suicide, as well as 2 combat veterans. And they were basically advocating on Capitol Hill at a press conference saying, and we have Boone Cutler. He's got his own radio show himself. He was a medic in the 82nd Airborne, came back and dealt with some issues. And he is a very outspoken advocate for marijuana. And I would challenge anyone to sit and hear these stories from people like Boone Cutler, people like Josh Frey, people like Janine Lutz, who tragically lost her son, to sit in the room with them. And they are living testaments, living monuments to marijuana working. And I mean, Josh Frey, a combat Marine, was in the Battle of Fallujah. He straight up told me, he's like, look, I couldn't leave the house without marijuana, and there's no way I would be able to be, much less the father I am today, but I probably wouldn't even be alive. But he had no problem. I mean, Josh had no problem showing me the prescriptions. And I mean, there's 3 different kinds of Klonopin that were prescribed with morphine. By the way, that's a no-go. So that means doctors weren't talking to each other. And when he says, look, all I have to do is spark up a little bit, and it helps me sleep, and it helps me be around people so I can leave the house. Like, how can you look that guy in the eye and say, well, we're not even going to do the research to see if there's actually, clearly it's helped you, but we're not even going to do the research to see if it's helping your brothers or sisters. It just seems like it's kind of ridiculous. And when we're talking about, veterans with PTSD, why would we limit ourselves to the amount of treatment we can get? I mean, if petting a hedgehog works, then let's try it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And this government, the government has no problems making combat veterans, sending them off to war, so they shouldn't really have a say in their treatment. Limiting the treatment and that's just my personal opinion, but it's kind of how I fall down on the issue.
No, I'm about to say, I think Jonathan Kophanger did this on purpose. He knew we were going to talk about this too.
Yeah, he definitely stoked the fires, so to speak. He was like, I just talk about weed, they'll eat it up.
You did say that? Oh man.
As Jonathan said.
Awesome. Well, yeah, it gets us fired up because, again, like you were saying,
he knows us very well.
He does. He does. And, you know, I tell that to some of my active duty counterparts right now, and I said, they would say, "What are you going to do?" And I said, "Well, of my medical conditions that I have, and mine are very acute, and it would be known real quick who I am. Mine are very acute. I need to. I'm in pain all the freaking time, all the time."
Yeah.
And so me snapping on somebody, me going off on somebody, me going on whatever, I'm in pain constantly. You know when someone's in pain and you can see them like that light glistening on their skin because they're sweating because they're in pain?
Yeah.
I'm like that 24/7. And you should see the looks on people's faces because I'm a senior non-commissioned officer, and they say, "Oh, what are you gonna do when you get out?" I guess you're gonna do this. You're gonna be a contractor. I said, "No, I'm doing nothing. I'm gonna smoke weed. I'm going to smoke weed." The looks on people's faces when I say that.
They look at you like you're talking about heroin or meth or something.
Yeah, exactly. They think like, oh, well, they immediately think I'm part of the cartels or something like that, and I'm going to be in the next episode of Narcos. But that's not the case. I'm just and I immediately once I go into the advocacy of it, they don't want to hear it. Nobody wants to hear it.
Well, yeah, that's the thing that I've come across is, people have a mentality when they're talking, they think it's about Cheech and Chong or they think it's about partying. But for people like I said, Boone Cutler and Josh Frey, it's literally about saving their lives and getting them off. We all know people that have been prescribed these combat cocktails and these drugs that I've seen my friends, some of which it turns them into almost a zombie, and I'm like, man, you might be alive, but you're sure as shit not living.
Yeah, well, I'm the same way. No, I stopped taking I stopped taking that medication. I stopped taking the pain medication because of what it was doing to me. I don't like being a fucking zombie. You know what I mean? I'd rather deal with a little bit of pain and a little bit of agitation than having to worry about, because I can't live. Like you said, I'm alive, but I'm breathing, but I cannot. There's no way. There's probably some friends I'm going to lose right now for saying this, but oh well, I don't care. Right.
Yeah. And the other side of that coin is the image I think that medical marijuana has, and marijuana in general, is that it is you get lazy or you don't do much and get this demotivational, or it's associated with being like a hippie and whatnot. And I just think that's even more reason to do the research, because I know a lot of I went to graduate school after the Army and I went to college, so I definitely know a lot of people that were recreational users, so to speak, and they would talk about the ground up herb like it was oh man, this helps with anything, this helps with cancer, and I'm like, well, don't say that, we don't know that for a fact, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But I think that is an argument to do the actual research, because it would kind of demystify this this herbaceous plant that makes some people feel happy and some people frightened, right? It would kind of strip it away, its mystical powers, and say, well, no, actually this is what's happening on the chemical level. This is what's happening in the general population. This is with the power of statistics and all this other crap that scientists use that I know nothing about, right? I think even the fact that we can't have that conversation is tragic, and later, decades from now, we will look back at this time and say, what the hell were we doing? We were sending our sons and daughters off to war and then saying,
yeah, exactly,
limiting what they can do when they come back. No problem making war in the past decade and a half, right?
But not to mention the fact that we're going to give you some synthetic materials to mind alter you, and then wonder why you're not. Well, there's obviously something wrong with him. And mind you, the fact that of the big cocktail that we gave him of 15 different types of prescriptions that they have to take a month.
Right.
I had a friend of mine who showed me his cocktail, and I was like, "Holy crap, dude!" And then he just said,
"It's scary."
Yeah, he just said that I just smoke weed, dude. He got chaptered, but he's like, "I smoke weed, man." And you know how much I have to take now? I only have to take this much for his. He has some vitamin stuff. He has an immune deficiency, but that's all he takes. He just takes some vitamins, and he's good to go. And not to sound callous, but do you think? I know if I was dying of ALS, or I know if I was dying of cancer, I would be in anything to make me have quality of life, even if I'm going, give it to me.
Absolutely.
You could have said a gallon of milk would have done it. I'd have taken it. Or a pound of weed. I'll take it. Give me something that, like you said, that's going to make me live, because I don't like seeing our Joes. I don't like seeing our soldiers in vegetative states. And then we could look back and say, well, like you just said right now, we're going to look back in a few years and say, oh, well, it was obviously him, and this is his fault. I'm like, dude, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Or then go 100 years in the future and, like you said, oh my God, we were in the dark ages.
Right. It's crazy. And just to take it to another policy level, I have a master's in political science, so I kind of see things like this where we have a natural experiment. We have 29 states plus a District of Columbia where medical marijuana is the law of the land. 29 states and so 30 jurisdictions if you're counting Washington, D.C. And states that have legalized marijuana for medical purposes, states like Colorado, which were the very first ones, their opioid deaths went down. And we can compare with states around that are very similar to Colorado, states like Wyoming, states like Nebraska, states like Kansas that have very strict, stringent medical marijuana laws, and opioid deaths went up. So so from that level, what that tells me as a science, sciencey experimentation is like, oh well, let's just recreate what happened here. What's the difference? Oh, they legalized marijuana on the recreational level or for the medical level. Let's try that, because we talk about opioid deaths, and I'm sure you know as well as I do, but in the past 2 years, more people died in the opioid deaths than during the entire Vietnam War. I
think more.
It's ridiculous.
I think it's more, and it's just now becoming a highlight because it's being so frequent now, and with the advent of social media, you're able to bring it to light a lot faster. You know what I mean? There's more of a count, and in being in an electronic form, it's a recorded medium. Again, the way I see it, when you talk about the recreational or medicinal, I don't personally. I don't care. Just like you just said, if we're telling our people that it's not okay to smoke pot, medicinally or recreationally, and then come home and as you know, there was this one meme that I saw of someone says, it's sad, American people don't need to be smoking pot as they're smoking a cigarette, and then you're to be, and drinking a beer, beating their, or giving their kids an iPad. This is bad for our youth. You know what I mean? And I guarantee it. As soon as something happens to them on that level, I'm willing to bet a paycheck that they will be reaching out for medicinal marijuana use. So how does?
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, and so just like you said. I don't think it's for everyone. I definitely know people that have tried it and they say, look, this isn't for me. I don't think this would help me. But it's definitely for someone. And so I think, if I hear people talk about it and they say, we want full-on legalization in the country. We want it to be completely, just like alcohol, be able to walk into a store and buy whatever you want. And I just think the pathway should be, okay, let's do the research and let's see statistically and empirically, scientifically. And so we're negotiating with facts here, and we're talking with facts. And then from that, if we see there's an upside, especially when it comes to veterans, then we should definitely maybe proceed with caution, But right now, we're not really proceeding. The federal government's not proceeding at all. They've kind of deviated, let the states do what they want. But this brings up very other issues just in the business of marijuana. I mean, you talk about, in Colorado, it's an all cash business, right? So you have retired Navy SEALs, ODA, Green Beret guys. They get out and they're guarding money in Colorado because you can't use the banks.
Yep.
Because the federal government won't take this drug money, right? So then you're forcing an all cash business, and I mean, you're talking about local economy. You're talking about taxing. To reinvest in the schools and the roads and infrastructure. To me, I can't talk about it enough, man. It just seems like a slam dunk, and I'm just talking your ear off about it. So I'm sorry.
No, that's why you're here, because we like. Well, see, the thing is that you're also being part of connectingvets.com, and you're close to that area, man. We're not.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm
in DC right now.
Yeah, so we're only but as close as we are is the Pentagon, Area 51 and the Alamo. So that's how close we are. So for someone like you. For us, it's a hot button topic for us, period, because we're not all going to be in the military forever, and there is going to be something that's ailed us, or we not even want to admit that there's something wrong with us, and that's a lot of it too. I might have something wrong with me, may not even know it,
or it'll show up a few years down the road after you get out.
Yeah, exactly.
After your VA claims and whatnot.
Well, after ad nauseum with that. So have you heard of any? I mean, from right now. Have you heard, aside from the new VA secretary, I remember you were saying if he was in a bar, shooting the shit with you, he would probably give you a definitive answer or more a loose answer. Do you see it do you see it happening to where, yes, it's going to be pass through the VA, but then you're going to hear stories like the state of Hawaii. If you've been issued medicinal marijuana cards, then you're going to have your guns confiscated.
Yeah, that sounds ridiculous, and I think that's going to get challenged, and it just sounds unconstitutional because it's a Second Amendment right. So just because you use marijuana, it's not clear. I mean, I'm not a constitutional lawyer, so take this with a grain of salt. But it doesn't seem to me that would make it okay for the state to take away a constitutional right. So I just think that case in Hawaii is definitely going to get challenged. But moving forward, I've thought a lot about this, and there's a few ways where this can happen. Actually, one of the ways is Donald Trump could make this tomorrow. He could executive order and make marijuana. He could reschedule marijuana with the stroke of a pen, right? There hasn't been a whole lot of signs to say he's going to do that, especially because his own AG, Jeff Sessions, has come out and said, he's definitely 100% against it, right? The other way is through law, right? So again, going through our elected officials, and it's we're a democracy, and democracies take time, oftentimes by design, right? But like I said, there is this one bill with Representative Matt Gaetz. His last name is Gaetz. He's got HR 2020 that has been sitting in committee since April, and it can't even get out of committee to get a vote in the House of Representatives, and it certainly is not going to go to the Senate before that. So I think if people do, if it's a passionate issue for you, and if you kind of want to move that needle, and if you want to help be part of the critical mass of this collective action to get something done, calling your representative, senator, and say, hey, what's your stance on marijuana and why? And challenge them. We're lucky that we get to be in a country where we get to hold our elected officials accountable, at least in theory, right? So I just think is that issue, that right hasn't been exercised to the fullest amount on this specific issue.
Matt Gaetz, isn't he out of Florida?
First district? He is. He's in the first district up near Fort Walton Beach, I think.
That's right.
I met him. He's a real nice guy.
Yeah. No, I've heard of him. I've lived in Florida, so I've heard the name.
Yeah.
So he also was a bit advocate on increasing military spending to other support as opposed to weaponry. Like he's more of a support services military funding as opposed to the front line. And he also is very upfront in his he actually holds one thing I like it too. He calls out the administration. Hey, what's the status of this? What's the status of that? How come you haven't done this? How come you haven't done that? Did he ever give you an impression that he was going to back off of it or on something else? Because that's one thing that people are getting pissed off with right now, is that our elected officials are saying, if you vote for me, this is going to happen. If you vote for me, that's going to happen. And then they get there and squat nothing. Have you seen him actually push for stuff?
Well, I mean, like I said, he's brand new. He just got sworn in January, so he hasn't even been in Congress for a year, and he's kind of taken on this issue. Partly because, if I'm being honest, partly because he probably wants to make a name for himself, and partly because he's in a very safe, deep red Republican district where he kind of has the privilege of stepping out of the classical Republican lines because he's going to get reelected. You see what I'm saying? It is not a competitive district. So I think he's kind of taking that upon himself to like I said, to help bring it to the forefront. I will say this though, in the press conference, he was the only Republican. The people that were some of the other representatives there that were kind of pushing it were Tim Walz, who's the actually ranking member in the House Veteran Affairs Committee. He's also the highest ranking enlisted soldier to ever serve in Congress. He retired as a command sergeant major from the Minnesota National Guard.
That's what I'm talking about. Sergeant major.
And exactly, and he was like, and he was the one. He's like, look, this is ridiculous. He's part of a letter that got sent. Every single Democrat on the House Veteran Affairs Committee sent it to the Department of Veterans Affairs and asking for a reason why marijuana isn't being researched on or isn't being descheduled. But I will say this though, I mean, if I'm in the administration, if I'm in the VA, Dr. Shulkin, the VA secretary, can always say, well, Congress made the law, so this is on Congress to fix the law. And I got to say, I think they might be right about that. This is, if you want to do things on the up and up and want to make things permanent, an executive order will get it done in the short term, but that's stopping nothing from the next president down the line, whoever he or she may be, to go ahead and undo that, right? So I think to make it permanent, I want to see it done through the House and the Senate and the president sign into law. But it's going to take time like anything else. But at least their conversation is being started. It's starting to get some traction on Capitol Hill. And, we're going to be every step of the way tracking it down.
So, we have a 420 friendly show. And then, we want you to come back and give us updates.
Oh, yeah? Is it at 4:20 p.m. or is that just the name of the channel?
No. The name of we call it the Green Room, and it's on, it's on Sundays.
You are not masters of subtlety, I'll say.
No, we're not. WTF stands for Wait Till Formation, not what the fuck. I don't know why everyone's getting all mad.
That's true.
They're apprehensive on why that name is. Oh man. So did it? What made you do this? I mean, tell us a bit about yourself, man. Because we just jumped right in and started talking about medicinal marijuana without doing our intros. So tell us about yourself.
Yeah. So I'm Matt. I work for Connecting Vets. I'm a reporter. I was in the Army from 2003 to 2009, right out of high school, and I served 6 years in the 101st Airborne Division. I deployed twice to Iraq as a signals intelligence analyst. I got out in 2009, and then I decided to use the GI Bill. And so I went to school at the University of Tampa, got a degree in government and world affairs. Enjoyed school so much that I decided to get a master's because I like pain and like torturing myself, apparently. So I got a master's in political science and been out in D.C. for a little, almost this summer. It'll be 3 years, actually, like two and a half years. And I've been working for CBS Radio since June.
Come on. What about your chin?
Kind of my down and dirty.
Well, what about the chin in Oxford? Yes, indeed. So you.
Oh yeah. So when I was at the University of Tampa, I did a semester at Oxford University and got to do tutorials, which is like a fancy way of saying you meet one-on-one with a British professor, and he just gives you a reading list, and they say write a paper and come back in 10 days and we'll talk about it. So that was nerve-wracking.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Wait, they just say here, read this, and then come back and tell us what you learned. That's it.
No, yeah.
No, man, I need to go to Oxford. Yes,
what do you? Yeah, well, I mean, Oxford was fun. I was there in it was like I started class in January, so it was cold as shit. And like I said, I went to college in Florida, so I mean,
exactly.
I had to buy a winter coat. I didn't have like more than 4 pairs of pants. I didn't think. I was going to class in flip flops, and then from that, all the added pressure of you're going to Oxford, try to do well and represent the school right, on top of freezing your ass off and trying to have a social life at the pub. It was a hell of a semester.
Yeah, of course. So then you also worked for reported on defense issues for Japan's second largest newspaper. I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right. The Asahi Shimbun. Is that
the Asahi Shimbun? You got it. Yeah. So
what was that
like? Was my first journalism job. I was a reporter working, actually covered the Pentagon here in DC for them. And I liked it. It was interesting. You guys were talking about Korea just before the break, and that was something that whenever a missile was shot at a Pyongyang, my phone would ring and be like, "Can you get the statement? What is Lieutenant Commander? What's his face? The PAO? What's our official statement? We got to have it out because we got to meet the deadline by midnight in Tokyo." So it was crazy.
Wow. Was it working for them? How was it working for them in the? It's different from working for an American newspaper. How do they see it? I mean, how does what's their discipline?
Yeah,
is it different? How is that like?
Yeah, it is different. Also all the bosses are Japanese. My bureau chief was Japanese. All the correspondents are Japanese, and all the reporters were American. So it was definitely like a power dynamic of the Japanese people were the bosses, and we're the lower paid reporters kind of getting shit done quite between the NCOs and the officers is a good parallel. It was my first job in media and in journalism, and it was exciting, and I'm grateful for all the opportunities I did, and I definitely learned a lot about just going to the Pentagon 3 or 4 times a week, sitting in the press briefings, being able to ask questions. I think was invaluable. And I really enjoyed defense reporting, and I think national security is something that I'm interested in professionally and personally. So,
of course. Now, do you think it's been removed from its, how can I say this, sanitized and NPR-like reporting? Because defense news, sometimes defense news just blows. It's just boring.
Yeah.
And some of the audience doesn't want to hear it. I mean, the audience is like, well, I don't understand how come this is. I don't want to say it needs to be sensationalized, but I'm just saying you think it's changed as far as reporting? Because I still think it's boring.
Yeah. I mean, it's not, it's not. That's why we have reporters, right? So not everyone has to sit in and listen to the boring shit, and they kind of sift through it and to tell you the important information, right? But I don't know. I covered the Pentagon at a very weird time when it was the height of the air campaign against ISIS. So we were going, and they would tell us, the Syrian Democratic Forces in Syria took this village, and the Iraqi army is making a final push for Mosul, and they just retook Ramadi, and they rose the Iraqi flag. So things were happening quick, and on that level, it was pretty exciting. I haven't been, like I said, since I've been working for CBS Radio, I've been basically covering a lot of Capitol Hill stories and other just feature veteran stories. And with a little bit of national security mixed in, but I'm definitely not living the life like I was when I worked at Asahi Shimbun.
Is that now, when your position in connecting vets, working for CBS Radio, you're specifically a reporter? You have the same? Is it the same thing as Jonathan, or are you guys? I mean, what? In other words, you guys, I guess, equals, or how does that dynamic?
I would say we're equals. He probably wouldn't, right? Because he's like the older statesman of the crew. But no, he sits right across from me. He basically, he used to work at the VA, so he basically covers anything that comes out of the VA. And we're colleagues, we're buddies. I would call him a friend.
Oh, okay, cool. No, I was just wondering, as far as like the dime, like he outranks you or something like that.
No, I mean, in age and swagger, he outranks me, but not in life.
Yeah, he's a good dude. So, what made you do signal intelligence? What was that? 98 Golf?
It was actually 98 Charlie. 98 Golf was the interceptor. I was the analyst, right?
Oh, okay.
So much less Jack Bauer like, right?
Of course.
No, yeah, I don't know. I knew I wanted to join the Army because I was a very average student in high school. I'll be honest. School was not for me. I wasn't interested in it. And so when it came time to get ready to graduate, everyone, friends, family, teachers, is like, what are you going to do? And I was living in Florida at the time, and I was kind of looking for a way out. And one of the ways out was the military. And it didn't hurt that 9/11 happened while I was in high school. I was a sophomore, and we saw the towers fall. And then so I made the decision to join the Army. And what I liked about talking to the Army recruiter is that they were the only ones that guaranteed the job in writing. So if I were to join the Navy or something, I would have been scrubbing a ship somewhere in the middle of fucking nowhere, right? But I went to the Army and I said, I want to do this, or what do I qualify for? What are my options? And it kind of lets you steer the ship as a recruit, because they want to make their numbers, so you kind of have some chips there. So
you were with 101st.
Yeah.
And so tell you were with, man, how was that like being with them?
It was cool. It was my first assignment, right? And Sergeant Major, our brigade sergeant major, he said, "This is your guys' first assignment. You guys are so lucky because the next time you go to your next assignment, it's going to be so fucked up. You're going to want to come back to Fort Campbell." And I liked all my time in the Army. I did my entire time, all 6 years. I was outside of training. I was in the 101st, and we deployed twice to Iraq in 2005 to 2006, and then from 2007 to 2008. So we definitely got a lot of time in northern Iraq. I was in Kirkuk and then Beishi Tikrit area the second time.
I love northern Iraq. That was a good spot. I mean, I've been up and down all the way through. From the tip all the way down to the bottom. And I tell you what, nothing beats northern Iraq. Or should I say
the
Kurdistan?
The kind of cool. It has mountains and
it's like Colorado. It looked like Colorado to me. In some areas, it looked like I was in Colorado. Nice green pastures, and don't look at the mines, but nice green pastures and a couple of burning vehicles here and there. And I was looking at the mountains, and I'm like, yeah, this was like Colorado Springs. This was like Fort Carson.
It's like Fort Carson, except more mortars probably falling.
Yeah, exactly. And your cars won't get towed; they get blown up.
Yeah.
Well, hey Matt, thanks for coming on, man. We appreciate you coming on and shooting the breeze with us.
Yeah, of course, it was fun.
And you guys are, all you guys from CBS Radio's Connecting Vets, you're always welcome to come back on. Tell John to come back on. We miss him. And
all right, I definitely will.
We'll shoot the breeze. So hey, man, thanks for coming on.
All right, thank you. Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Yep.
All right, that was Matt Saint Sing with the CBS Radio's Connecting Vets. Once again, dude, I love getting the insight scoops. This is awesome. We're getting the scoops.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't realize that there was there was already a bill at committee, just waiting on people to act. But there's kind of a lot of crap going on right now, I can see how that's being passed over right now. But
there's some drama
I really
going
hope
on.
that stuff gets pushed through.
Yeah, exactly. It was just some other stuff happening, but whatever.
Just a little
just
bit,
a tad
like
bit
potential government shutdown.
Yeah.
on
Man.
Friday.
Yeah. I didn't want to get into that because I didn't want to. We could be talking about that all night because of what I don't want to get into those.
All week.
Yeah, all week. But yeah, that was pretty good. We're gonna go ahead and take a break. It's top of the hour. I need to recharge my glass, and then everyone get some shouts, and then we'll be back. So see you in a second. Shouts.
Everything stated on WTF Nation Radio is to be considered the opinion of the person that stated it, and not an official representation of WTF Nation Radio or U.S. Army WTF Moments.
Price does not include tax, title, or license. Some assembly required. Each item sold separately. Batteries not included. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. If conditions persist, contact a physician. Individual results may vary. Keep out of the reach of children. Avoid prolonged exposure to direct sunlight. Keep in a cool, dark place. And
please enjoy the show. Shots.
For another taste, you stumble around the time you waste, and your table's overturned. Sooner or later you crash, then you burn. I think I wanna die tomorrow. Are you gonna be with me? I think I wanna die tomorrow, 'cause I'm out of time and I'm out of my mind. The simple ways come and go. Still I love the way you turn me on. Just can't find the words, 'cause everything I say sounds so absurd. I think I wanna die tomorrow. Tired of being with me. I think I wanna die tomorrow. closed off mind due to the ones who granted you in. There's got to be another way. We will not embrace this play. It's my place to be a part of the hate and pain that I beg you to eliminate. This destruction and hate, how do you think it came to this? We are not the ones to blame. We did not create this. You hold us responsible. You blindly believe the lies, ignoring the truth. You avert your eyes. There's got to be another way. We will not embrace this play. It's my place to be a part of the hate and pain that I beg you to eliminate. I am the repulsive reality you refuse to accept. I am the weapon until required is safely kept. I am the means to the end you refuse to secure. I am There's got to be another way. We will not embrace this play. It's my place to be a part of the hate and pain that I beg you to
WTF Nation Radio. WTF Nation Radio.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe. I suggest we use it.
The voice of U.S. Army. WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Good evening, boys and girls. This is Tim Kennedy. I'm a Special Forces sniper, a Ranger-qualified Green Beret, a UFC fighter. Please listen to us and the shenanigans that we're going to say. We will insult you. There will be racial slurs. We will be sexist. We will offend you. But there will be magic, and a unicorn will be raped. So enjoy the show. Thank you for listening on WTF Nation Radio.
And we're back. Oh man, that was a good run, dude. I didn't even realize. I was just telling Mom that. Holy crap, that was time flew. I like guests like that.
So it's always good to have those guests that tell you stuff that you really want to know and actually have the authority to speak on it because they've been there and talked to them.
Well, not to mention the fact that they're pretty charged about themselves. You know what I mean? But I like enthusiastic guests makes the time go by. I was just like, holy crap, this the whole time went quick. Hey, real quick, I just want to throw out a bolo. Right now, the main page has posted a bolo And I'm letting you know right now, this is a real deal, Holyfield. This is not a drill. So there's a battle in distress going on in El Paso, and right now a message of intent to commit suicide was posted by Matthew Forstrom to his Facebook page. His chain of command is aware of the situation, and his unit has people out searching, but so far it's been unsuccessful. So his last known location has been Franklin Mountain State Park, which was about about an hour and a half ago. MPs and El Paso PD have been notified, and they're searching.
This is my neck of the woods.
Yeah, exactly. So a Jeep and a Jeep that's in the photos are reported to have a Florida temp tags, but the tag number is currently unavailable right now. So message the page or El Paso PD. Contact if you have any information that leads to finding Matthew Forstrom, and of course we're also going to be we're going to be posting updates as this continues, as the story is developing. So again, there is a battle in distress, El Paso. Matthew Forstrom has an intent to commit suicide. It was posted on his Facebook page, and his chain of command is aware. So if you have any locations or anybody that's pinged him up, contact the main page or contact El Paso PD. So best of luck. And then again, we will post this. And right now, Leos are searching the park. And if you have any information, don't blast it out. Don't blast it out in the comments on the main page. PM the main page. The reason why is because there's going to be about 700 to 1,000 freaking messages flowing through of who was this and who was that. But it doesn't matter. You got people in there just saying, "Hey, don't ever, don't do it." Blah 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 blah. Just hang in there. We'll get with you. Contact us. If you even think it might be him, contact us. So that way we can at least get a good lead. Don't start blasting the comments in there saying that, well, he might be here. I think he's there. PM the page or PM the PD. So that's our Abolo announcement. But anyways. So I just got that from the main page. So we're also going to be I was told to blast out Secret Santa stuff going on. We have what is that? You got to sign up by December 8th. What does that include? What is a Secret Santa thing? What is the deal with that?
Okay, so I guess recently there is this newer, website. I don't know how long it's been around, but it's called Elfster. And you can go on there, like depending on the group or wherever, you can sign up to be part of a Secret Santa. So here, U.S. Army WTF Moments, we are having a Secret Santa. You go on to elfster.com. I'm trying to get the link to pull up right now. And you just put in your info. You have to put in your name, and you do have to put your address in there. And I promise you, between this website, because I've done it before with this website, and with the admin at U.S. Army WTF Moments and WTF Nation Radio, your address will not be given out because we highly believe in PERSEC and OPSEC. And you basically find a gift within that price range. It's a suggestion. You can spend as what you can afford, or even if you can afford more, you can do that, and you send it to that person. It's that easy.
Oh, that's it? That's that easy?
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, you could send a glitter bomb, a bag of dicks, a box of dicks.
But it's supposed to be Christmassy. You're not supposed to be sending that stuff. I mean, I
know, but
I don't care. But if you send me a bag of dicks, I'm just gonna laugh. I'm not gonna be offended. So, but anyways, yeah. So check it out. If you go onto the main page and you look at like the top of the post, it'll say events. It'll say upcoming events. Just click on that and you'll see the Army WTF Moments Secret Santa sign up by December 8th, and you'll be able to participate in that. What else we had on? Oh yeah, what were you talking about, Flash? Before I cut you off, you were saying something. I cut you midway into something before I started talking about the bullet.
Well, you're gonna have to bear with me. I have baby Flash here who's
what's up,
waiting
baby
for
Flash?
mom to get out of the shower. Yeah, she's not having a good time. So you hear me like I sound like I'm out of breath. I'm actually doing what I call the baby dance.
No, I know
it's
the
like
baby.
It's kind of like the shuffle and two-step at the same time.
Yep. Oh, I've done the baby dance with Baby Ice. Yep.
Yep. man, what was I saying? It was cool having the guest on. There's a lot of stuff going on, and I understand why that bill is in committee and not being pushed forward, at least at this current section, because there's so much else going on. But it's surprising to hear that something we haven't, that no one wants to even research. That kind of pissed me off more than saying yes or no, or not making decisions, that they don't even want to research to see if this actually will work. It's just this whole 1930s perception on marijuana that's still in our government today. It kind of pisses me off.
That's what I'm saying too, man. I freaking prudes. You know what I mean? That's what it feels like. It feels like we're I don't know.
Someone needs to give Jeff Sessions a blunt or something. That'll calm his ass down.
He's got other things to worry about right now, like some sort of bullshit going on with the with the Russians and the whatever, the collusion.
He's got this probe and that probe and this thing and that thing, and
he's got so many probes that he needs to take medicinal marijuana.
He looks like the man. He looks like the leprechaun from the movie Leprechaun. But with that fake ass Southern accent, he goes.
It almost seems like it's pushed, doesn't it?
It is. It seems like he's like, I'm trying to make sure I reach my base. Someone bring me fried chicken and watermelon,
and I want.
We're going to make this happen.
Damn, dude. Damn. Partaking in some of the refreshments here. Again, I hate the reefer madness stuff. It's me, like I was telling you guys before. Immediately, as soon as you hear it, as soon as you say what you're going to do, or say, hey, can you do this? Immediately it goes to, you're going to be a hippie then. No, I didn't say that. No, I didn't say that I was going to do that. I was going to say I was going to do weed. I can still be...
the good stuff.
I didn't say I was going to, whatever. Different strains. Everyone, I didn't know this. I didn't know there was freaking different strains for whatever. I thought weed was weed when I was growing up. I didn't know it was a...
there's like 15 different, 15 to 30 different types.
Yeah, just almost like
different names, different strains.
Yeah,
it's almost like pick and choose your marijuana, man.
Yeah, it not only that, but it's also one of those things where you're like, damn. It's almost like getting what type of tree do you want? You want a fir tree, an oak tree, a walnut, whatever. It's the same thing with weed now. It's been strained. It's. I'm excited. I can't wait. Everyone's like, "Oh, why are you excited to do that?" I'm just saying. I just want to, I need to look up the med. So, check out the Secret Santa info. Can be found on the Facebook at U.S. Army WTF Moments. I'll pin that comment right there in the comments, and then you'll be able to see that. That way you can check it out. So you can go and enroll. You got until the 8th.
And we also have some really cool stuff happening on the Facebook page. We have 2 shirts from our friends at United Hero Apparel. We have 2 shirts we're going to be giving out in the next day or in the next couple of days. So we have
actually make it 3.
No, 3. We got 3 shirts now.
Oh wow!
So so we're going to be giving those out on the Facebook page. Or 2 on the Facebook page, 1 on the Twitter page. We're diverse. You check out our Twitter page, WTF Nation Radio. We also have our Instagram, WTF Nation Radio, and you get the gist. We're everywhere.
Yeah, we're everywhere.
And don't forget to tell your friends about us. Give us a share, listen up, and and we're also still looking for radio hosts. We're looking for social media people, admin people. If you feel you have what it takes to be a part of WTF Nation Radio, if you head on over to our website, I think you can guess it, but I'll tell you, WTFNationRadio.com. You can apply to be a part of the team. Enjoy some great times with some very drunk and stupid people, but I love them so much.
Oh. That brings up a good freaking point. That brings up a good point. So there's been some complaints from the main page that I've been hearing about videos and stuff like that, and then I'm like, you know what? Can we complain about some stuff too? So I guess there was some stuff that's going on. I sent the main page a video, and everyone, they got the ass. They got pissed off because I didn't film it right. So apparently they have guidelines to film something. When you film something, you want to send it to the main page or send it to us. Film it in landscape. Don't try to.
Please, God, film it in landscape.
Yeah.
If you do vertical, I'll find you and kick you in the balls.
Explain landscape to some of these people.
Oh, okay. So that doesn't look like the screen is turned on its side. That's portrait. Landscape is when it looks like it's filmed the way it's supposed to look. It's supposed to look like you're watching it on a small TV screen, right? Which means that it looks like the appearance is going horizontal as opposed to vertical. Like the triangle's laying on its side as opposed to standing straight up, or the rectangle. There you go. Do I need to get more specific? If you can, try to film it in HD. Because, believe it or not, when you don't film it in HD, the sound doesn't come good either. Don't add any text to it. You ruin the fucking film. You ruin the image that you're trying. We know what you're trying to send. Send us what you're trying to send, and then I don't know what app does that has the black line that goes across it and it has lines in it or it has words in it. I don't know what the fuck that is.
Oh, that's when they use Snapchat.
Yeah. So, if you have a page or would like for us, to cross post it, then let us know, and then send it to. Oh man, I'm gonna have the video guys gonna get pissed. Send it to video@armywtfmoments.com.
Whoop whoop.
Video@armywtfmoments.com. They'll appreciate it. Not to mention the fact that that's how it gets screened and it gets posted. And if your video's good, then it'll get posted up.
They also want lots of dick pics too. So send videos of your penises to them too while you're at it.
No. I'm supposed to get those.
Oh my God.
Sounds like the exact reason why you should.
Well, now there's a process. We're competing. We're competing for employees. That's what I was breaking balls to the main page. We're competing for employees. Okay. And the main page, the way they do it, they have specific instructions. And if you don't follow their instructions, they don't even answer you. They don't even answer your application if you have to follow specifically their directions, or you won't. That your application doesn't pass go. I was talking to the main page guys, and they get like over 1,500 applicants or something like that every time they go over. Every time they do a recruiting drive. Yeah, they get a lot.
Can I just send one in and say I'm here for the dick pics?
No. Well, no, that's unemployable. That's.
I'm fucking with you.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying. Is that employable? Can you? Hey, main page.
I don't know. Be like, look, you know what? She could do the dick pics. We'll just do everything now.
You want someone say dick pic? Anyways, so the same thing with WTF Nation Radio. Applications come in, and they get screened, and if they're not filled out completely, and it's what you're looking for, well, we just posted what's on the splash page, right? What we're looking for. But if you say, hey, I want to do this, but then I don't want to do that, or there might be something like this or something like that, well, shit, man. See what you got.
Or follow instructions.
Or follow instructions, yeah. Or follow instructions. So make sure you follow instructions, because everything is key. There's reasons why the main page does their stuff and why we do it. I think we're just going to start doing it the way they do it. You just don't fill out the information right, we just won't look at it.
I agree, because while this is a all volunteer, no one's getting paid here. This is an all volunteer situation. We all like to think of ourselves as pretty professional, and if you can't do like you would do for a normal job, then this isn't the place to half-ass anything.
I kind of feel like I'm having deja vu on a conversation that we've had about special forces, and they give you simple instructions, and people either don't do what they're supposed to,
my
or
special
they
ops
kind of overdo it.
Yeah, my special ops buddies tell me that shit. They said they see all the time that the reason why guys don't get selected or guys and gals don't get selected is because they overthink what the instructions are. When all they wanted you to do was to go somewhere in a PT uniform in a 2-quart, and you have people bringing out their TA-50 and a PT belt. Now, granted, of course, then I'm just maybe exaggerating a little. They may be exaggerating a little bit, but don't overdo it. Don't overdo it. Everyone's dropping dick pics in there. Yeah, exactly. Landscape is code for horizontal. Horizontal, not vertical. So yeah, that's some of the complaints from the admin department from both pages, is that if they don't even fill it. I asked them. I said, hey guys, when you guys process applications, but how many do you get? And I'm thinking, like how we, I don't know, like we get like 10 or 15 or so, or once a while when we talk about it, or 20, or we'll get a spike or something like that. We'll get one about every other week or something like that. We'll get a few sprinkle in here, and I get a message back saying, "Oh, we get about 1,500." I'm like, "Fuck."
Can they shoot some over to us? Like, hey, this guy, is ugly enough for radio. He should go with you guys.
No. That's because the main page, man. They're wanting to have there's I guess there's people that want to be associated more with the main page than they want to be associated with us, which is okay. I don't care. But that's they get all those applications, but they don't get all filtered through. You know what I mean? Not all of them come through. Not all of them get. It's almost like a selection process in itself. Can you follow instructions? Yes. Okay, you go to the next phase. I need to ask them how they do some of it, but yeah, sometimes it just drives me up the wall. I'm like, God. So that is the way. Everyone's like, well, every time I try to apply, it doesn't work. Well, some of the things that we're not looking for, we're not looking for. We're not saying that you're fucked up or something like that. It's just we're not looking for that at that time. We're looking for something specific.
I might say that. I really might.
No, I'm saying, but we might say, no, that's not something we're looking for. I mean, we have to fit everything specific. So, anyways, what were we talking about before we went on break? Oh yeah. So we brought this up, and we're going to discuss it. But apparently, the feds issued 4,000 orders to seize guns for people who have failed background checks.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I'm totally cool with that. Totally.
I mean, I kind of wish they would have been caught at the beginning of the process.
Yeah, I was
but
kind of thinking the same thing.
Like, hey, well, I guess if you're gonna screw up, at least you kind of like making up for it. Like, it's kind of like that field goal kicker, misses like 5 field goals, but makes the game-winning ones. Like, oh, well, I guess we can excuse the other stuff. But yeah, that's kind of crazy. That's a lot of weapons to be getting. A lot of people would be seeing that you've missed. But hey, remember, it's a gun problem, not a system problem. Remember?
Right.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you can't. What the hell is this? Got a fucking ad going on the goddamn.
I mean, that you brought that up. They're seizing, like, or quote unquote, seizing all those guns that people who did not pass background checks. Like, once they get those guns, seize them. What are those people gonna do? Like, they're just gonna go and
there was obviously There was obviously a reason why they were seized
illegally.
No. My point being is that there was an obvious reason why they were seized, right? So that means that they were seized, and more than likely, if they were illegal to have them to begin with, they're probably going to do something to you if you try to take them.
Yeah, I would think so.
More doing chores for mom, Parole?
Oh my God!
Bounty is more
losing her mind.
Oh man!
It's just I was listening to my wife as she's starting to feed her, and it's not pretty. But anyway, that's a lot of goof ups. Like, it goes back to like the whole, when we were talking about that, the Air Force not doing what they're supposed to. When somebody was supposed to be, their paperwork was supposed to be filed a certain way, so they couldn't get their hands on a weapon. How does the background screw up that many times where now they have to go and seize these weapons? Like, it
shouldn't get to that
somebody
point.
needs to get fired.
I want to see how they're going to do it. I want to see them try to do it.
Too many.
I want to see them try to do it.
I totally see Ice with a bowl of popcorn and sipping on his drink as they're
Hey, you
trying
guys
to do
gonna raid
this.
that house? Okay, cool. Go ahead. I got my popcorn.
Let me get my lawn chair out here.
Right.
And let me get my.
I got my Tecate and my popcorn.
Exactly. And let me get my weapons because they're legal, and I'm gonna sit here in case the fucker decides to shoot my house up, and see what happens. Baby ass, get the sandbags. Make sure you put your armor on. So yeah, man. That's not something you. Yeah, 4,000. 4,000. Obviously, this is in the.
Was that 4,000 people or 4,000 weapons?
You know what? Man, I don't even know if it said that. There's just 4,000 orders. An order. 4,000 orders to seize guns from people who have failed the background check. And so
that sounds like 4,000 people. That's a lot. One's too many, but 4,000.
Well, they're just talking about their They're retrieving the banned weapons from unauthorized gun owners across the country that are exposed to potential dangerous confrontations. Well, no shit. But these are the people who shouldn't have weapons in the first place. So why the hell did they get them? So who do you frag them with? Who's the person that gets fragged? The individuals that sold it, or their failure to maintain the records? I think it's obviously the person who was supposed to maintain the record.
It sounds like there's a couple people, because if they fail, okay, so if I go to whatever, Jimmy John's gun store, and I'm like, hey, I want that AR-15. They're like, cool, do this background check. What I wonder what happened. Like they go, oh yeah, nothing came back, and we're past like 3 days, so just go ahead and take it. Or if it came back as, oh, you're good to go, and then later it's like, oh, he shouldn't have had that. Like, that's what I want to know what happened. Like, was it a total, like, they were just like, fuck it, we lost the paperwork, and we're just going to give you the gun anyways?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Honestly, I would like to think that, the gun stores, or quote unquote, they go through so much. I don't know. They spend a lot of money and they do a lot to obtain their license to be able to sell firearms. I would like to think they wouldn't, scrutinize the process to lose their license to sell firearms.
I don't think that. I don't know. You got those guys that are diehard fucking Second Amendment guys that just don't believe.
Yeah, I know.
They don't believe in that shit. They don't go. You gonna do my you're gonna pry my gun.
I understand what Mom's saying. I mean, I think there's plenty of those guys that are like that because they know no matter what they do, they're going to sell guns. Guns are, without, waving don't tread on me and blah, blah, blah. Guns are American. They're almost as American as football, baseball, and apple pie. That's just what Americans do. But you're right. I know plenty of guns. There's plenty of gun stores within my area. One that I drive by that's sketchy as hell, and there's some good old boys that have no problem making sure you get your armament because we believe in your Second Amendment right.
That's right.
And then there's also some really nice. There's some good gun stores that know, even though you might hate having to wait the full day process and bitch and moan and say you're not going to come back, they're still not going to lose business, and they know it. So they do everything by the letter. So. Like, that's where it makes me go, oh, the guy was one of those Second Amendment, like, hey, fuck it, you can have the weapon anyways. Like, did that happen, or when they did the background check, they just went, oh, fuck, we lost the paperwork. Just tell him he can have it.
And some of the weapons that I have purchased, I purchased it during lunch on a Wednesday, so that way I could pick them up on Friday. Like, when I got home from leaving home from work, I was like, like a little Christmas kid. I was like a kid in a candy store. I'm going to get my gun. Get him. I'm not disclosing how many, brigades that I can arm, but I'm just saying. During the Black Monday, Black Friday, there was a 200,000 background checks done, enough to arm the Marine Corps. Enough weapons to arm the Marine Corps. That's how many during Black Friday. How many weapons background checks were conducted?
Yeah, I saw that, and I kind of wanted to I wanted to mess with my uncle, who's this out of my family that varies from decent, middle right to middle. He's on the other side on the left, and anytime there's anything that has to do with guns, even when it's like, oh, hey, the good guy got the guy with the gun. Oh, he shouldn't have had a gun the first. Yeah, that makes sense. Go on.
Yeah,
go
exactly.
on, Uncle.
Yeah.
Uncle B, you go ahead. I wanted to be like, hey. I said, did you do your Christmas shopping?
Yeah, exactly.
Fucker.
I can't wait to see what's underneath the Christmas tree for my weapons. I don't mind giving weapons out. I don't mind taking weapons either. I don't mind it. Don't mind it. Of course, well, as long as it's legal and as long as it's done, it's right. I mean, I'm all about that. And that's something too. There's nothing wrong with having, if you have no issue in your background, then it shouldn't be an issue for you to wait a day. Think about it. It's like some states, it's like what? 48 hours 48 hours for a pistol, and then some states just do 48 hours period. 48 hours, and then that's it. There's no cash and carry.
Yeah, some of it's just like, hey, cool, you want to buy this? Come back in a couple of days, and then you can have it. And I agree with you. Unless we like, hey, Russia's coming, which then I don't think we really care about waiting periods. You know what? You there's nothing unless you plan on doing something nefarious. There's really no reason why you can't wait a couple of days for that. Shoot, you tell me I have to wait a week. Oh, I'll go on a Monday. I'll do what you do. I'll go on a Monday and come back on Friday.
That's what I'm saying. I did that.
Cool,
Where I used to live, in several places, and they would have like a mandatory 48. Didn't matter if you bought a pistol or didn't matter if you bought a long gun. I would do that. I would go to lunch. I was like, ooh, I got my money. I need to go. Let's do it. And I would buy it, and I'd be all happy, and all that, and then I'd be okay, and then I'd pet it one more time. Okay, I'll see you on Friday, and then freaking that's it. And then Friday came around, I'm like, I was like, oh my god, here we go. That was it. Come home, pick it up after work, and then I'd be all happy, and then getting ready to I'd clean it and put it in its new home, and wash it and clean it and take the cosmoline off of it, and then do some do some dry fires on it to make sure it's clicking right, and then it's going to the range on Saturday. That's what it's supposed
I can see you talking to your guns like you talk to your children.
I do. Oh, it's a good gun. Yeah, it's a good 44. Yeah, 357. Ooh, 357. So, yeah, man, it's just one of those things where he's, you got people that it's hey, what's up? You got everybody who's Julianne. I don't think I've ever seen Julianne in here. Who's this Julianne Brandt? Hi, Julianne. How you doing? Welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us. We're talking about guns. And,
guns and things.
Guns and things. Dear. But the way it is, the way some states have it is that you can't purchase the gun if you have something in your records. They won't give it to you. Like you were saying, Mom, no sane or no legitimate gun store would ever risk losing their business over that.
I mean, the only reason why I brought that up was because, with the first, Fort Hood shooting with Nadal Hassan, and they tried going after the gun store that sold him that weapon, which, we've purchased, my husband and I have purchased guns, from, and trying to go on, they tried attacking, and it's just, it's a mom and pop store, and they tried going after him for, hey, you're the one that you're responsible for this, which we all know at the end of the day, he's not. And, logically, it's not the gun store's fault. But, I mean, they were like legit, and they screened you properly. And like, anybody that wants to be in business would do that. And even if the gun store, say if a gun store didn't do the background checks properly, once that person, can't get a gun there, if they really, really want them, and we all know they're going to go get a gun, off the streets on the black market.
And that's something too. When you sell a private, what are you supposed to do for private sales? You know what I mean? Have you ever bought? Has anybody ever bought a pistol from you, private?
No.
How about you,
Not
Flash?
a pistol.
Have you ever sold?
So
have you ever sold?
There was
weapon
one time where I was buying a pistol for, and I wanted to buy a pistol for my wife, but we wanted to get the at the time they were offering a military discount for like 10%, and I was like, okay, cool. So I asked him, I was like, can I? And I had to get him to explain it, and it's actually really easy. I had to go online to the ATF website. They had a whole bill of sales thing, fill it out, send it to him, and have her sign it and me sign it, and it was done. That's it. There's no background check, so it's very easy to be like, hey, buddy of mine, you don't need those 2 pistol, shotgun, and AR-15. And can I buy them from you? Cool. Hey, just fill this out real quick, and no one's going to be the wiser unless something happens.
Yeah, I'm one of those things to where he doesn't. What's going on in the chat? Everyone's talking about Casey unless he's pleaded guilty or something like that. I don't know what you're talking about, Casey. Once somebody's been convicted of domestic violence, they fall under the Lautenberg Act. They're no longer authorized to even touch a weapon for life. There is no repeal.
Unless you're in the Air Force, then apparently it doesn't matter.
Well, yeah, because in the Air Force, I don't even think they touch weapons. But it's just one of those things to where that type of extenuating circumstance, if you're not authorized to have it, and it's going to go in your background, it's going to go in your background. I've never talked to a gun store and I never asked them, hey, what do you do when someone doesn't? What happens? You know what I mean? Do they? You know what? Because then it puts the gun store in a unique position. The gun store now has to, aren't there some states that's obligated by law that if a convicted felon or someone who's not authorized to purchase a weapon, it has to be reported, right?
I would think so.
I'm not
we
sure.
would have to dig into that.
I mean,
where's the judge when he needs
I
him?
know the judge is goofing off. He's on vacation. I asked him if
He's pretty active on Twitter, so I don't think he's taking his vacation very seriously.
Well, I mean, that's one thing about Twitter. You could just throw a sharp comment and that's it. Oh my God, he is crazy on Twitter right now.
Right?
I love it. WTF judge at Twitter. So there's some states that actually require that you just say, hey, look, that you don't, you can't even purchase it. You can't even do it. But there's also some states that also say, well, actually it's federal law, but that you have to report when a convicted felon is trying to buy a gun.
I mean, I would like to think, when they do the background check, it shouldn't be just on the owner of the gun store to, throw up, the red light. Hey, I need to report this person. You would think, with the background check, that would automatically send a signal like, hey, this guy should be buying a gun.
No, see that? Yeah, I could kind of see that, but it is part of the big wheel of gun purchasing, I guess you would say. The big cog of life when it comes to guns. Everyone has to do their part, right? So there's that one corner area of a gun store you ever notice? It's the legal wall. Have you ever been convicted by a firearm conviction? Talk to blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. Did you know that using a straw man purchase is a federal crime if you buy something? You know what I mean? They have propaganda all over the place with that shit. So they're not going to sit there and say, I mean, again, it's one of those things, you're not really making it on the gun store, but the gun store should say something. And because what's going to happen is that the gun's going to go to him, whoever buys it, and they're going to say, oh, well, why didn't the gun store stop it? Why didn't it? You know what I mean? The gun store will say, what did you just tell me that you had it? You know what I mean? That whole finger pointing shit. I'm tired of America standing around and just pointing fingers at everybody instead of fucking doing something. That's like watching a car full of kids burn and say, well, the fire department should have been here 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've seen pictures of a bus full of kids burned. But anyways.
No, but my point being is that
I know.
People, instead of standing around with their fucking phones or some shit, help. Well, the same thing with that. The gun store, if you care about your country so much, then you should be able to say, yep, that guy's not authorized to have a weapon, and then call the cops. Report him. Hey, you got somebody right now that's about ready to buy a pistol, and he's not authorized to have it. I'm pretty sure they do that. Hey, when they say come back in 48 hours.
You would think that they would.
Oh my God, Al.
No promises. We're starting to learn that the biggest problems with our country is not the actual laws and policies. It's the follow through of people doing their jobs. It always reminds me of Boondock Saints in the very beginning, where the priest, bishop, one of the two, is up there and he's talking about, we should all fear evil men, but we should fear most is the indifference of good men. And it makes me like the shooter in Texas. A lot of these places that if people would have just done their job from point A to point Z, then a lot of these things would not happen. If that one person had filed that guy's paperwork, that he might have been, like we've already talked about, he might have found a different way to get a gun or whatever, but he would not have been able to buy so many and buy so many through a gun store and everything, and had been able to do that. If people follow through with what they're supposed to do, from military to civilian, no matter what on the spectrum, especially when it comes to firearms, I love firearms. It's a part of my culture, how I was raised. It's part of who I am as a military personnel. But it's a thing of responsibility because no matter what you say it's for, this thing is for killing people, or anything at this for that matter, is for killing things. That means there's a level of responsibility. That means if you cannot be responsible enough to follow through with a background check, get the fuck out of here. If you're that ATF guy who's doing background checks and you can't follow through with your job or informing whatever, out of here. Like there seems to be a level of responsibility and ownership, and because there's too many links in the chain that all it takes is one chain to be wrong to screw up everything.
Oh yeah, and then no one's gonna say, "Well, no, it was your fault." No, you're right. It's all. That's what I'm saying. It's all one cog of life when it comes to the life cycle of a weapons purchase. But I am tired of people just sitting around not doing shit, and like you said, not doing their job. Think about that shit. I wonder if that weighs heavily. We still have not heard what the blowback was from the Air Force.
Nope, they said, "Hey, we're gonna do an investigation," and we haven't heard anything. And actually, I might have to start a Twitter storm with WTF Nation Radio on Twitter. Shameless plug, because you're right. Nothing has come up. I'm gonna have to dig on that one because why haven't we seen anything, heard anything? Not even a hey, this is a initial, this, or they're talking to these people. Nothing. It was such a big thing. The Air Force is like, all right, everybody, just shut up. It's kind of like when you're hiding from a T-Rex, or just everyone stand still. They'll move on to something else.
But think about that though. Think what happened right afterwards. When that happened, the Air Force said that the racist remarks were fake. Remember that it happened right after the shooting.
Yep, at their academy.
At the academy.
Yeah, I mean, they were trying, like, somebody did it, and come to find out the person who put the remarks up was a whole, what do you call it?
He was an idiot.
Yeah, that he was an idiot. Like, he did himself.
Yeah, and he was black.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get at.
Why didn't you say it then? You were trying to get that.
I don't know.
It's pretty black and white. No pun intended.
Me right now.
You don't want people investigating you. I know, man.
She's getting sent a lot of dick pics right now.
The next thing you know, she's getting a lot of dick pics. Well,
I'm very disappointed, though.
Yeah. Oh my God, Al! I thought you said something else. I'll be right back. I thought you said something else. The Al. He wrote in the Facebook live chat. Be right back. Time to tuck in wife. I thought it said something else.
Oh,
whoa!
I mean, well, with the whole Air Force thing, they tried I guess you want to say quote unquote social justice, which we kind of get a lot, and this, I guess quote, black guy or whoever, because that's kind of like the popular thing to do right now on social media. Put out this whole, I don't even remember what they put on the whiteboards on the whatever, and try to claim racism, and come to find out, it was a black person that did it.
You got everybody up in a firestorm,
right?
Now, do you think just as
remember the commandant even came out and was like, if you're a racist, you shouldn't be here, which
Yeah.
I fully was like, hey, good on you. But now I'm just
pull your phone out. Let me record this.
wow,
Pull your phone
that's
out. Yeah.
great.
Well, I mean, he is right, though. If you're racist, you shouldn't be here. And that goes to show that fucking dickweed was fucking racist. He was trying to make, something out of, he was making something up. And people like that, and like that fucking dickweed shouldn't even be a part of any type of leadership or anything like that. Because that goes to show they already have an ulterior motive.
Not to mention the fact that had it been a white guy.
Holy shit. There would have been a fallout.
Yeah. So again, just trying to freaking have a discussion about it. Just one of those things that the amount of, I mean, it's bad enough that in this day and age, guys can't even talk to women anymore. Guys can't talk to women anymore. A guy can't talk about anything race related. It doesn't matter what color you are. Doesn't matter what color you are. If you are not, again, you have white people telling people like me, that's of a minority, that that it's racist about something.
Being old is not a minority. It just means you're fucking old.
Shut up! It is. It is. Damn it! It is a minority. Ageists. They're ageists. They're ISIS. They're racist against ICE. Old. Nothing wrong with being old. It's racist. It just pisses me off how, again, you get told, hey, you can't say that. Why? It was just like the comments we said about midgets. There's only like 2 words for midgets. Or now there's 3, right? Midgets, dwarfs, and what, little people?
Little people, yep.
Yeah.
You know, honestly, I'd rather be called, like, if I was in that situation, I'd rather be called a midget and not a dwarf and a little person.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, a little person is insulting as much as dwarf.
Right?
Dwarf makes it sound like you're all fucked up. You know what I mean? The little person just like it's an insult to intelligence and stature. So when you, you say midget, what's wrong with saying midget? Little midget. Like I said, Tyrone Lannister is a badass midget, right? On Game of Thrones. Everyone goes nuts over that guy. Who would have thought that? I mean, think about it. Peter Dinklage, who plays Tyrone Lannister. Think about it. You would honestly think that he would ever? He was talking about. He was at a commencement ceremony and he was talking about that. And never in his dreams would he ever think that he would ever be talking at a graduation ceremony. And talk about some of the issues that he's went through. And now he's like one of the lead stars in one of the most highly successful series ever that I still haven't seen. That's right. It is in the dictionary. And that's right. Men can't be men anymore. Women ruin them shits.
And unfortunately, like with the recent, I guess, calling out on the whole quote unquote somebody, sexually harassed me or assaulted me on, I guess, with the whole Hollywood thing, they're just it's hard to say who's is really genuine with the complaints and who's actually guilty of doing them, like Weinstein.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Women, I'm gonna have to say it. Women of late have been accusing men of everything. Now guys can't go check the mail. Sexual harassment. Would that be paper or plastic, please? Yeah, go ahead and give me plastic. Sexual harassment. I don't talk to any females anymore. I don't even look at them. I just like head and eyes in the front. Sir, can I help you? And then I just hand him my debit card.
I give you money, you give me stuff.
I just give him paper or plastic and I just say in the bag. Just everything. Men and now what are men supposed to be? Anything we say, it's fucked up, and it's because you're a man. Anything we don't say, you're ignoring women. You're not realizing their place in life.
Right.
Wait a minute, motherfucker. I thought you said you didn't want a place in life. You wanted to be equal. Not have a place of, Ice told me 15 years ago that, he said, what do I think about this dress? And I said, it makes your ass look good. And then, it's sexual harassment.
Oh, he said my ass is fat.
But, like that whole Matt Lauer thing, I know we talk about it back and forth because it's funny as shit. Matt Lauer, just like Harvey Weinstein's dead to rights, caught busted talking this shit.
Matt Lauer apparently is a sick fuck.
He is, dude. And then they had, but then again, they were talking about, and I posted the meme in the chat of those 2 Today Show female hosts in front of Al Roker rubbing on this Brazilian soccer player, going, oh my God, his chest is so great. Squeezing his chest, squeezing his arms. And everyone just
but that's okay.
It was like
the only difference is, I guess, maybe they weren't like, they're not crying in a corner afterwards. Or he wasn't crying in a corner afterwards. Or he was, who knows? They're kind of scary looking.
Well, not to mention,
No, I'm sure if he would have complained about them 2 females, like, doing that to him, it would have been turned around on him, calling him a fucking pussy. What is he talking about? You
wants to be a man.
Claim that you're a guy.
Shut up and be a man.
Exactly.
Shut up and be a man. Be a man. Oh, we're being graced by Stankus. Oh, man, it's the stank.
Hey. So I just wanted to call in and say, like, I don't know, like 15, 14 years ago, I said, "Oh, that dress makes your ass look fat." Yeah, now I've been harassed.
Go ahead and file your
Hey,
complaint
guys,
with
how's
our
it going?
EO office. Hey, what's
Late,
going on, man?
yeah?
Yeah. What you been up to?
Nothing much. I was quite enjoying your commentary. Yeah, Matt Lauer was absolutely an off the rails creep, man. That guy was man.
Well, not to mention the fact that it's slowly coming out substantiated. And again, where were these women at when all this shit was happening? There's supposed to be some of these women.
And that's a good point. And this is this is thin ice, and no pun intended. Anyway, it's in the realm of victim shaming, right? Victim shaming. How dare, these women were traumatized. But, at some point, it's like, buyer beware. It's like, hey, I handle snakes and scorpions for a living, and there's probably something to be said about it. And I'm sure there are people who will take exception to my statement. But, the truth of the matter is that, some of the shit could be, they could be kind of down with it, but the end result didn't play out. In other words, I didn't get that promotion. I'm not necessarily saying, Weinstein, you listen to the recording of that dude, man, he was completely off the rails, that guy right there. Come on, baby. Man, that deal sounded like it was about to turn into
1970 shit right there, man.
But here's my thing on it. Like, these women knew this was going on. And what disappoints me, in the fucking female card carrying category, is these women didn't say nothing for fucking years. And now it's a big deal. Why? Why is it a big deal now when they've kept their mouths shut? And I'm not just saying, like 3 or 4 years, like for fucking decades.
Yeah.
It's because they're
agree
getting
with you 100%.
they're getting a piece of the fucking pie as well. And for some of these women to go, like, look at fucking Ashley Judd calling you out, to go up and be a part of the fucking walking snatch and go on about Donald Trump saying grab her by the pussy.
And she says she's a nasty woman.
You were a part of this fucking ring.
She says she's a nasty woman too. Ashley Judd.
Sorry.
Nasty ass woman. I'm a nasty woman.
Grab her by the kafeve, and boom, there you go.
Yeah, I don't. Again,
I guess it's better late than never.
This ruins my future ex-wives game. You know what I mean? It's how can I get more ex-wives if I'm going to be accused of sexual harassment all the time?
On the first one, and then spend time in the clink of ruins.
Yeah,
how are you
exactly.
gonna write all those child support checks?
Oh my god, I know all those freaking. Oh my god, you'd be like, Ice. My first 15 wives will say, Ice sexually harassed me when he got me pregnant.
Exactly.
That's how stupid it's getting. When we were having,
because it didn't pan out exactly like you promised.
Yeah, exactly.
That big mansion and palatial estate, up on the hill. It didn't quite work out. So now we're going to come after you just for spite.
We were doing it doggy style.
Bandwagon
We were doing it doggy style, and he slapped me in the ass, and I told him that one offended me, and then we had our child, and then that was sexual harassment. I'm like, are you fucking for real? That's how stupid it's getting. It's getting so fucking ridiculous.
My buddy at work, he came downtown. He came down from Michigan, and he's like, "Hey man, we got to go out. We got to go hit the ballet." By the way, ballet is code speak for the top high bar. And I'm like, I don't know. Considering the current climate of affairs, maybe we ought to just duck that.
Yeah, really. No, I'm serious because it's.
How am I going to tell her? Well, she jumped in my lap, and I had no idea it wasn't consensual. I thought maybe the $20, would have been sufficient.
Yeah, exactly.
$20 was $20.
Well, $20 is sexual harassment because it wasn't. You think that women aren't worth? You think women are just worth $20? There has been some.
The ones here are. Every penny.
Yeah, some of them are worth 20 pennies. No, but my point being is that
exactly how I pay them.
Make it rain on them bitches.
Exactly. But no,
hang on. Let me break up this roll of this $1.
Yeah, but again, it's you're not going to get it. You're not going to get. Guys now are going to look at women, guys of all generations, of all ages, from my old 50-year-old ass all the way down to the 17-year-old kid jerking off to a hustler. they're gonna look at women different now. They're gonna be apprehensive. There's not gonna be no courtship. There's not gonna be no gay ass fucking Nicholas Sparks moments where he just told me he loved me and he was at a great setting and all that stuff.
Wait. I mean, I know you're going on that tirade. And what's similar to these bitches that are complaining now in Hollywood, and then some of these women or quote unquote bitches, like, I can't find a good man, and they want the courtship, but they always go after the guy that wants to fucking. Never mind. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead. Dude.
Leave them up.
They want the guy that's gonna smash and run.
Yes,
Exactly.
and then they get knocked up, and now they got a baby daddy, and I don't know why he can't support his baby.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know how come he doesn't want to see me. How come he just treated me so bad?
But then they bark like a fucking chihuahua.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God, did you see that? I'm not saying I watch The View, but being that I am a radio journalist, I have to see all forms of mediums and all that. Did you see Whoopi Goldberg go off on all those bitches on The View about women who hit guys and expect guys not to get hit back? That Whoopi Goldberg said herself.
Whoopi was a champion for men everywhere.
She was a champion for men when she said that a man nowadays has been beat down so much that it doesn't matter if it's a woman who is 50 pounds less than him or 150 pounds over him. You deserve to get hit. Whoopi Goldberg said this. I
completely agree.
What the fuck? I was like, okay, now I'm gonna watch Jumping Jack Flash.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? I'm gonna watch.
Yeah, go get all of her DVD box set.
Now I'm gonna
Nuns or whatever the hell it is.
Yeah. Sister Act. Yeah, I want to watch The Color Purple, and all that shit. But when Whoopi Goldberg said that, hang on. As a matter of fact, somebody sent me that, and I will bring that because that pisses me off. Is that if you want, and then everyone says, well, men, you just need to know how to treat women, and they won't hit guys. Whoa! Hey, whatever heard that time unladylike? Remember that term unlady? That's unladylike.
Oh, it is very unladylike.
Yeah. So everyone,
a guy hitting a woman is very, how would you put it, gentlemanly like.
Well, no, exactly what it is.
Right.
It's
and
big.
for
No,
those of us that are still old enough, right? We get it. But
our friend Stephen A. Smith, he's going to be addressed,
and in her unelegant way. This whole debasement and this moral relativism that women and men are exactly the same, blah blah blah. It's probably got into the head of some of these younger millennials, and they're like, well, shit, if we're all equal and you just took a shot at me, well, there's nothing special unique about you.
Yeah,
I wasn't raised any better.
Yeah, hang on.
That he made on Friday regarding NFL player Ray Rice's 2-game suspension for allegedly knocking out his fiancée. Now, Smith basically said no man should ever hit a woman, but a woman should learn how to avoid provoking a man's anger. Now, some people are outraged, and let me just point out that the comment that he made is based on what the young lady said she did. Let me just make that clear to y'all. She said, I hit him, and I believe that's what Stephen is pointing.
I just want to say for a man hitting a woman unless his life is in jeopardy.
No, I'm sorry.
He knocked her out. He knocked her out.
Listen, I'm sorry. If you hit somebody, you cannot be sure you are not going to get hit back. Because
that's right.
Damn straight.
Whoopi Goldberg.
I can't believe that chick.
That was Jenny McCarthy that was going back at her.
Well, he knocked her cold out. Like, excuse me, bitch.
You look at it and take her fucking head off.
So yeah. So my biggest thing is that. So my biggest thing is that
we at my house have an easy rule. I don't like being hit. I just that's why I don't do MMA. That's why I don't do boxing. I do not like being physically hit. Honestly, I don't like being touched by anybody except my wife. And even then, I don't like her hitting me. So we have a rule. Don't hit anybody. You won't get hit I won't hit you if you don't hit me. That is my standing rule with my wife. I don't care how mad I get. I will never hit her. But I told her, if you hit me, I will hit you back. And one time, she was dumb and slapped me. And I tagged her right back. And I said, see? I said, don't play that game with me. I said, I do not like being hit. I don't care.
Yeah, no.
That is a standing rule. And it should be, hey, ladies and gentlemen, keep your hands to yourselves.
Yep.
If anything ever shoves you,
oh, hang on.
Keep your hands to yourselves.
Hang on. Hang on.
Common sense.
Yes, baby. Listen, if you're a little boy, I'm sorry, if you're a little boy and you grow up with a sister says, no, you can never hit her. And she's like this, and she's hitting you all the time. You say, Mommy, Mommy. She's like, well, you know what? I'm sorry. If you hit her, you have to teach women. You have to teach women. Do not put your hands on anybody. Do not, let me just finish my point. Because I know I'm going to catch a lot of hell, and I don't care. But you have to teach women. Do not live with this idea that men have the chivalry thing still with them.
She nailed it. I mean, the bottom line, it's common sense. You catch people in a moment of fucking passion or say anger or just whatever, and you reach out and you put your hands on them, man. You got to be ready to go ahead and just reap what you sow. That's the bottom line.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
we call it equal rights, equal fights.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Well, I mean, that's why I stopped going after women that are bigger than me. But anyways, my point being is that but you get my point. The point being is that you teach a woman to be a lady. A lady doesn't fucking attack a guy. Ladies, you can go after guys in many more other ways aside from hitting them. Guys, obviously, it's back and forth. I'm kind of conflicted on this. Equal rights, equal fights, and all this other shit. If it's somebody that's a small woman and it's my size and she's like, I'm like, kick your ass, and he's like, she's barely even hurting you, then that's okay. But if she gets her thumbnail and drives it in your eyeball and she's that size, I'm drilling her through the fucking wall, dude.
Well, yeah, and that's where the other person was saying, well, only if your life's in jeopardy and life and limb is at stake, your vision, But just to here to tell you, living down here in the good old South, the good old
the South.
There's some big women. All right, I'm just going to tell you, there's some big women.
There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with big women. There's
some lay down and roll a haymaker on you, and you're not expecting it.
It could hurt you. It could fuck you up. Exactly.
It'll hurt you, dude. And you get your ass on the ground. I mean, if they still got the mean in them, I mean, you're going to get you a whooping, not a whipping, a whooping. And.
My daughter Minnie, she tried playing the whole because we teach our kids you don't fucking put your hands on each other, and of course with her, she kind of understands men should be hitting women, but she should she's been taught you don't hit anyone, and she tried playing that whole game, and I told her, I was like, look, you hit someone, you can't sit there and act like you're the victim. Expect a reaction.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
She just looked at me like, but I'm a girl. And I'm like, I don't care.
It's if we were going to evolve women, if you're going to try to evolve men, then you need to evolve yourselves. You need to evolve yourselves. Don't the man now a man. Now it doesn't matter what race anymore. A man has been now getting more persecuted over just being a man. Something that's simple. You have people that are not even of your gender or not even of your own gender type of belief that are telling you how to be a man. Dude, I'm done with it. I'm done with that shit.
Yeah, I hear you. And what the other guy here on this call said, and I apologize for not catching your name, but he called it right. I mean, the best rule of thumb for your own self-preservation is just basically the moral decency that we expect from each and every one of us, regardless of our gender. Keep your damn hands to yourself, straight up. I mean, if you want to make sure you don't get popped, or at least if you get hit, you have the moral high ground. Say, that motherfucker just hauled out and hit me out of nowhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing.
Exactly.
Then don't reach out and put hands on anybody else.
Exactly.
Simple.
Exactly. All right, Stank. Hey, I got to close up and do housekeeping, man. So, hey, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, man. Gotcha.
All right, brother. Here's your cue.
Good talk with you guys.
All right, man. Have a good one.
See ya.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
We got Stanked. Hang on, I'm going to pull up his little soundbite. I haven't used a soundbite in a while. I got to put it out now because he rarely calls. Now he's calling like crazy. So every time he called, he would make a little comment and all that. So now he has this little bumper. You got Stanked. because they mistake us. But anyways, I digress. We got an interesting week. Who do we got coming up? Oh wait, what happened to our? I thought we were having a guest tomorrow. We're not gonna have a guest tomorrow.
No, we just have somebody Thursday.
Oh, okay. Nation, check this out. Thursday, we're going to have Car for Heroes, nonprofit organization that's going to provide free, reliable transportation to veterans and their families, and they're otherwise not able to obtain transportation. Something special is going to happen that day on Sergeant's Time. So stay tuned to Sergeant's Time, and you'll find out what's up. Next Monday, we're going to have Officer Cole. Oh, man, I love Officer Cole. He dresses up as superheroes and visits children's cancer hospitals and as their favorite superhero, and signs autographs, takes picture with the kids and all that. So it doesn't matter what superhero it is. It doesn't even matter who. He will dress up as that superhero: Batman, Iron Man, Spider-Man, and he's gonna talk about some of the stuff that he has, out in the future. And he's got some new toys that is going to be awesome. Can't wait to see what he's going to talk about. And then in the same week, we have Medal of Honor recipient Flo Groberg. He's going to come back on. He was a guest before. He's going to be talking about his book called 8 Seconds of Courage, A Soldier Story from Immigrant to the Medal of Honor. And then we have Bill Harris coming on Saturday Night Savagery. He's a guy that chased down that terrorist that mowed down everybody on Halloween and ran his ass down. I think he shot him too, didn't he? Didn't he shoot him and the guy was just like,
I don't remember.
Yeah. Well, no worries. That'll be Saturday Night Savagery. So always looking forward to having J-Ready shows, man. I've been kicking ass. I don't know.
All the shows have
yeah,
been.
Well, I care about my show, but I'm more worried about the other shows. Yeah, the other show's been kicking it. Fucking just dominating. I love it. Don't forget to check out our partners that you see the Veterans Report tagged on the post, and you also see War Horses for Veterans, our partners. Check out their pages.
So show them some love.
Yeah, show them some love and like them. If you guys don't know who they are, we pretty much thrown some more stuff. They come on once in a while as well, so be on the lookout. We always throwing their gear up, throwing their pages up, throwing the support they've done. They've supported a lot of people. And they do make a difference. So I don't care what anybody says, they do make a difference. Other than that, you guys got anything for me? Oh yeah, wait. Well, we got a show every night except for Wednesday. Wednesday's a Donza. Hang on, I'm ready to get a phone call. Now it was called a training holiday. Dave Mills scheduled activities is a Wednesday. It's like our weekend, I guess you would say. Or like it's kind of like the day we can goof off and play GTA or whatever. But every night we have a show from 20 to 2300, and we also have the Tuesday and Thursday taco truck, Jose's taco truck. Sometimes it gets hijacked, and KJ leaves the keys in the visor, and then we drive it around and goof off with it. So, other than that, you guys got anything for me?
Not at all. Hope everyone has a great week. Remember, keep your hands to your damn selves, and I guarantee you're not going to end up on CNN, Fox, or MSNBC.
Or U.S. Army WTF moments.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you still might end up there, but you'll be like...
yeah, exactly. Oh, no, you can be on there. It's funny, but you may not like what you see, but yeah, exactly.
And don't beg for it to be taken down.
Yeah, because it ain't going to happen. So, aside from that, you all have a good one, and thanks for joining us. So, peace.
Shots.
WTF Nation Radio. WTF Nation Radio.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe. I suggest we use it.
The voice of U.S. Army. WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Good evening, boys and girls. This is Tim Kennedy. I'm a Special Forces sniper, a Ranger qualified Green Beret, a UFC fighter. Please listen to us and the shenanigans that we're going to say. We will insult you. There will be racial slurs. We will be sexist. We will offend you. But there will be magic, and a unicorn will be raped. So enjoy the show. Thank you for listening on WTF Nation Radio.
Actually, a picture of the Antichrist crying. I like it. It's tasty.
WTF Nation Radio. WTF Nation Radio.
I've come to talk with you again, because a vision softly creeping left its scenes while I was sleeping, and the vision that was planted in my brain still remains. Within the sound of silence, in restless dreams I walked alone, narrow streets of cobblestone, neath the halo of a street lamp, I turned my collar to the cold and damp, and my eyes were staring by the flash of a neon light that split the night and touched the sound of silence. And in the naked light I saw 10,000 people, maybe more. People talking without speaking. People hearing without listening. People writing songs and voices never shared, and no one dared to spend the sun.